The Area Truck Series rockets into its third round of the season, hot on the heels of two thrilling packed races at Daytona and Texas. There's still a long ways to go and some of the most challenging tracks ahead. This week, we're in a town in the heart of Pennsylvania, making one of two stops to the northeast. Welcome to Long Pond and Pocono Raceway, but you may also know it as the Tricky Triangle. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn here tonight. And Connor, welcome aboard round 3 of the season. What more fitting place than the three-sided track here in Pocono?
Yeah, no place more fitting, and it's been a while for the Truck Series. We haven't been here since Season 1 of the Area Truck Series, and that was, I believe, before SimTV's time in this series, December of 2021. So it has been a while since these drivers have came here. The winner here was Justin Gann, but he's not in the field, and plenty of newcomers in this field from the last time we came here almost 3 years ago. There's plenty of fast drivers and plenty of trucks just trying to make the field, but there's going to be a lot of competitors for the victory tonight.
Yeah, there's 43 slots, and we're going to send at least 3 of them home. The races the last couple of weeks have been pretty dramatic. We come into this round with a familiar name leading the point standings, Connor. It's actually Jake Nichols up on top, leading by 10 over Reese Schaefer and Michael Venable in third. And there's just a lot of names that are new to the championship as well that we need to mention. Matthew Batby's up in 6th, tied with Lucas Strayer and Sebastian Marin. But I think we're going to see a lot of shifting and shuffling because we're still so early in this championship.
And I think the next 3 weeks really or 4 weeks really, because we have Sonoma in there as well, or at least another track that might not be Sonoma. But the next month or so is really going to shape the standings for good. But we'll likely still see Jake Nichols up there. It's a mix of drivers right now. You have open drivers Reese Schaefer and Jonathan Evans 2nd and 5th. Evans with that win at Daytona, but Schaefer's the highest open truck in points. Then you got Venable, you got Matheson in 4th, you got Lucas Strayer, Sebastian Marin. But then you got guys who can be further up there that just are not having good starts to the year. Jacob Bell's 47th. Joshua Balliet made the playoffs last season. He's 44th. Eric Wineland's 42nd. James Shanewill, Brad Slaughter, Brandon Bowie, Mason Kane. These are just a handful of the drivers that are outside the top 35 in points. And we don't have too much longer to go before we get halfway point in the regular season. Plenty of time to go, Kyle. These drivers got to get something going.
Yeah, it's still early in the season, but we are cooking them off and laying them down pretty quickly here. So if you have a bad trajectory in your championship season, you got to get it corrected too quickly, especially before others start locking down the race wins. The 2 wins so far belong to John Hall and Jonathan Evans, as you mentioned earlier. But this racetrack is fast. It is really challenging to pass, Connor. Last night of the Cup Series, so you saw some long green flag runs. We also saw a whole bunch of really nasty accidents that can end your night in a hurry. So what's the key to success here to make it through the evening at Pocono?
Qualifying well and good track position. I don't think track position is going to be as valuable tonight because we're going to see a lot of drivers be able to pass maybe a little bit more tonight, because I think dirty air in the draft and just being able to side draft someone in the Cup car, it made it impossible to pass. As a driver standpoint, to me, it sucked. But either way, we still had a race to do regardless. But tonight it is going to be different. I think you're going to see the draft play a factor. I still think you'll see it a bit packed up, but I've seen fall off in practice about 2 seconds or more over 15-20 laps, and with a 70-lap race, you're probably not going to be able to make it to that halfway point at lap 35. You'll likely see 2 stops, and you'll likely see a lot more different strategies than we saw last night, and that's if we get green. We struggled to get green last night until the halfway point, and then it became a question of if drivers could make it, if drivers couldn't. Some drivers were fine. Some drivers ended up staying out at the end of the race because of how important track position is, because there really wasn't a lot of fall off last night. But I think tonight we're going to see, like we said, there's a lot of fall off tonight, so I'm really expecting to see some drivers just stay at the front, really, and maybe try not too many wacky things, but you'll probably have drivers who qualify outside the top 20 try pitting early, I would think.
Well, you talk about qualifying and how critical it is here, because if you are one of those open drivers and you don't get a decent run, you're not going to make it. And at this point in the season, Connor, if you haven't been consistently getting into the shows, you really need to get in there now to start accumulating points, and also just to make sure that you're in enough races to count for those playoffs. But tell me about qualifying. It's starting now, but what's the key to making a fast lap around here in a truck? It probably involves a lot of on-throttle time and big commitment.
Yeah, you got to be very committed on the throttle 100%. It's not one of those tracks where you got to get out of the pits fine, because obviously you got at least 2 miles to get out of turn number 3. But that's where it's going to be important, is the exit of 3 coming to start your lap. You probably want to enter high, exit low, get the best run down the main straightaway you possibly could. But then you have to absolutely nail turn 1. Probably enter a little bit higher, but not all the way to the top side, as CJT Poole will be one of the first drivers out there in the correct number this week. But you really want to make sure you focus on the runs out of the corner. You do not want to charge the entries of the corner if you're just going to hit the wall or have to lift on exit. That's going to kill your lap, and if you're an open truck, you're going to miss the race because of it. You have to line up for the exit to these corners down Long Pond straightaway. You have to nail the tunnel turn through there. That's maybe the one corner you want to charge the entry and just get through there as fast as possible instead of just charging the exit. Got to get through there well, and then you got to nail turn 4 as well with another high entry, low exit.
Jacob Bell begins his lap, and again, as it always is, it's going to be a pretty frantic 5 minutes here. Already a minute and 10 seconds to laps just on the warm-up, so you have to make sure you get off pit lane in time, and a lot of the field is already on their qualifying lap. It's going to be very revolving door here at the top step at Pocono next time by. Bell rockets onto the back straightaway here, down the Long Pond Straight and towards the famous tunnel turn. It's got a big bump in the center of the turn, and Connor, corner exit there is typically where, or turn 1's exit is where we see a lot of the big messes.
Yeah, and this is the most important corner. He's going to go with a little bit of a higher entrance. He kind of missed the yellow line you want to aim for, but still a decent corner. It's hard to believe the owner of the league has missed both races in a truck series to start this season. He DNQ'd Daytona. He did not attempt Texas, but attempting another start here tonight. He does not want to be one of those 3 or maybe even 4 DNQs tonight. He's going to be one of the first drivers to lay a time down, and he needs it.
Well, time's on the board. Here we go. Jacob Bell sets the benchmark, 54.785. And we'll see how long it lasts up there at the top of the order. Cameron Hearn's on track. Patrick Moose, JT Poole goes to the top. Drew Trader goes third quick. And you're going to see that ticker start to fill up with times pretty quickly.
Yeah, and we'll see how many more open trucks are able to go. I mean, you only have the 1 lap in 5 minutes, so you really got to go immediately. Jeremy Miller, he's struggled in practice. He has not had the best start in the lower series. He's trying to get through turn number 3 here, or 4 and 5. We're not going to go over that quite yet. But either way, he's through. 609 Motorsports colors on the truck. We'll see where he slots in. He's one of our drivers locked into the race. And you see 164.465. That puts him just outside the top 10 on the board.
Yeah, 15th for now, and it's going to continue to drop, I think, with a lot more trucks left to go. Matthew Badby goes up to the top. Jake Matheson second. Brad Slaughter Jr. goes to the top of the board at a 54.505 by 0.08 of a second.
And that's a solid lap. We didn't really see many non-drafting laps in the 54.5 bracket, let alone close to the 4s, as we see Seth Knoll, Jake Nichols. They're both going down the Long Pond straightaway. Knoll also in a 609 colored number 1 truck. Winner last night due to some strategy, but he was right up the front pretty much the entire race regardless. That strategy, staying out on 30-lap old tires, I would not expect that to work tonight, but you just never know with how crazy this triangle can be.
Edward Sherrod Jr. also on his flying lap, leaving turn number 1. Sean Peachin comes to a stop. Looks like he's not going to get a lap because of when he stopped. Jake Nichols and Seth Knoll are going to come across the stripe. Knoll goes 54.7. That's only going to drop him, well, see where it drops him. 17th. Nichols goes 4th best, though.
Solid for him, right behind the other Jake and Matheson, so they might be on road 2 together unless Pacey Wygen can split them up. He had a solid run going at the end of last race. One of the fresh drivers on tires goes 13th on the timing sheet. Got up to 11th by the end of that Texas race when it was all everyone else didn't know they could make it on fuel. Well, we knew he could, and he almost got that top 10 out of it. Trey Eidson, he led a bunch of laps last week as well.
See what he can do out of Carolina's in his Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, and it's 54.521. That's a great time, and that'll put him 3rd on the board.
I wonder if he scrubbed any speed going to the bottom like that. I found that weird to do that on a Q lap, but clearly didn't hurt him too much. Case Lacadas in a brightly colored number 50 this week. Got on those rumble strips in 3 a little bit. You got to be careful of doing that. They'll jolt you sideways, put you in the wall out of 3 if you're not careful. But if you hit them right, you can also use them as grip a little bit, but it's a very fine line.
Does it bother anyone else that they don't actually rumble?
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, doesn't that bother you?
I don't know if they do in real life. I mean, I assume
how are they not? I mean, they're rumble strips.
No one hits them, I guess. I don't know.
Well, checkered flag, and no, you're right, no one hits them. Checkered flag, and a handful of trucks didn't qualify, including Travis Beckner, Julian Valadez, Sean Peachin, Ryan Swan, Landon Brown, and Gabriel Toledo did not qualify. So we'll see how things pan out here, Connor, once the DNQs are sorted.
Yeah, we know Toledo and Brown, they are not making the race because they were open trucks, so certainly they'll be out. It didn't even seem like Beckner even tried to lay a time down, which is surprising to me. This is such a tough track to pass, and it'll probably take him a while. Maybe he's not happy, I don't know. But it's going to be tough to come from outside the top 40, I would think.
I would think so as well. 70 laps tonight, Connor. The race last night wasn't super fast, but it could have been. We click off laps in a pretty quick way here. We just had a bunch of yellows. As far as the trucks racing here, the big question I have is around this new aerodynamic model. We've seen it at play a bit at Daytona, probably more so at Texas, but this one in particular, the draft is such a big deal at this racetrack, but you also have that aero watch to consider. So how much is that going to factor in as you see Drew Trader in the wall out of the tunnel, turn it back to the inside wall? How much of a deal is that going to be here tonight?
I don't know how much of a factor it will play. I think it'll really become apparent, and maybe in the tunnel turn especially, if we see that aero wash, that's really where we're going to have to watch out for it. But I think it's going to be a draft we're going to be looking at to see if it's really a big difference. Because we saw not too much draft play a factor at Texas. Daytona's obviously Daytona. This will be a true test as to see how much different the draft physics are with this new aero model and see if it actually plays a factor. Because if the draft is pretty strong, and we saw how much more side draft there was at Daytona compared to years past, seasons past, I should say. But I think if the draft is strong, plus you have that little bit of side draft on the right rear added from seasons past, you're probably going to see more of a similar to race to Monday night than what we might expect. But it's all a matter of how these first 5 to 10 laps go, because compared to Monday night, we're going to see a lot more tire fall off, and we might see more drivers get spread out because of that. So that's really what we're going to have to look at in the first 5-10 laps of this race, as to whether that draft will really play a factor and make aero wash very tough.
Well, we got our answers to Travis Beckner. Remember, he had to start actually at the tail of the field anyway because of a penalty, so that's why he didn't bother to qualify. Already had to get the EOL, so that explains that. Well, before we get too much further into this broadcast, race fans, make sure that you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have those great Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Warm-up is underway, and while it's underway, we've got confirmation, Connor, that the trucks that are out and did not qualify, the 18, the 96, the 91, and the 60.
Yeah, so a smaller field missing, or a smaller group of trucks missing the field tonight, but it's still, it kind of makes it sting a little bit more. I'm not sure if Dean Gagliano is, I think he might have DNQ'd all 3 races so far, and I'm not sure if the 60s made a race either, Toledo, so it's been a tough start for all those drivers. Toledo in the 60, Gagliano in the 18. The 96 was, I believe, Andrew Allen. The 91, Landon Brown. Those are the 4 drivers missing the race, and all 4 of those drivers I know have not qualified well to start this season, so they got to get something going soon. Maybe hope for the lap count, or not the lap count, but the driver count to come down to get into some of these races, but that's just how tough the competition is this year.
One of the things that was a factor last night was the lack of tire wear. How do we expect that to happen tonight as far as the trucks compared to the Cup cars? It seemed like fuel is your limiting factor, and a lot of drivers just try to split it evenly in half. Of course, we got some more yellows that opened up the strategy a bit, Connor, but the tires were never really much of a factor.
Yeah, I think there'll be more of a factor tonight. My teammate Adam Cabot finished 9th last time out. He stayed out at the end of a race like Seth Knoll did. He didn't even take left side tires. So I think we're going to see a different type of race tonight as far as tires are concerned, I would say.
Have a look at the weather. 74 in the air, 103 on the racetrack. It got cool by the end of last night as well. We haven't seen track temps really this low so far, maybe partially due to running in the Northeast. But, you know, this is only one of 2 trips that we make to the Northeastern United States. The only other track on the calendar is actually in 2 weeks' time at Dover, Delaware. Everywhere else is in the South or otherwise. Michigan's in the Midwest, so is
Canada.
Iowa, Kansas. Where?
We got a race in Canada in the 2 series. I believe this series goes to Knoxville that week.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. And then Sonoma is coming up in 3 weeks, which I'm very excited for. Go get some road racing, some rights and some lefts. It's been a long time since we've seen trucks race at Sonoma on SimTV. Last time that we did it, I think it was with the 3-wide series back in 2019 or 18. And we also ran there on the Rallycross configuration one time, I think.
You remember that?
I don't know how we did that.
I don't. Yeah, I do remember that. That was fun though.
It was something different.
Yeah. It raced better than I think anyone else thought, though.
Yes, I think it did. So I'm always down for something silly just to break up the action. We're going to head down to the racetrack here in just a moment's time, and we're going to get our starting lineup read out as we get our pace lap around the 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway. And the starting grid sponsor this season is Central Mobile Homes. And if you're looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer, look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomesinc.com to get started today. So the field getting gridded down there on the pit lane. Brad Slaughter Jr. starting on the front row. Strong qualifying effort for him, but let's kick things off with this starting lineup presented by Central Mobile Homes. On the front row, as I mentioned, it's Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 81 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Matthew Batby Connor starts on the outside in the number 89.
He looks to start strong once again. Trey Eitzen, who led laps last week at Texas, starts third. Season 5 truck champion Jake Matheson, Ford F-150, starts fourth.
In fifth place is Jake Nichols, championship leader coming into the night. Can he continue to extend that advantage and potentially go for a championship in the trucks? That's yet to be seen. David Weishart rolls off sixth, the number 33 Toyota.
Seventh place, last week's winner at Texas on fuel, John Hall in the 03 truck, although he was very fast fuel besides the point. He starts seventh tonight. JT Poole in the correct number, 26, starts eighth.
In ninth place is Sebastian Marin alongside Cameron Hearn. They make up row number 5.
In row number 6, Joshua Balliet, 44th in points after making the playoffs last season in that number 7 for Lucky Ducks. He starts 11th, trying to right the ship. Michael Van Abel starts 12th.
13th place will be Patrick Moose in the number 38 truck alongside Pacey Wygen in the 00. He rolls off 14th.
I'm hearing sirens. I think that's you. Mason
Yes.
Kane starts in the 15th position, the number 31 truck. Jonathan Evans, the Daytona winner, starts 16th.
And in 17th place, it is Garrett Grant in the number 5. Justin Anisogak rolls off 18th in the 88.
And then just inside the top half of the field, Connor Yarashak, who had internet issues plaguing him last week, he starts 19th tonight alongside Edward Scherer Jr. in the 20th position.
21st place, Seth Knoll won last night here at Pocono. It was the second win of the Cup Series season. Reese Schaefer rolls off 22nd in the 07, and Reese rolls in as the second place driver in the championship standings.
23rd place driver right behind teammate Seth Knoll. It's the 06 of Spencer Burns as the field starts to roll off for 2 pace laps tonight. Burns starts 23rd. Drew Jua, who I believe was second last night to Seth Knoll, starts 24th.
And in 25th place, Tyler Hallman rolls off at the number 62 right alongside Jacob Bell, the 77 and 26th.
And then 27th place, Jeremy Miller, a struggle for him in qualifying. He'll start near the back alongside the 98 truck of Danny Ware.
29th place is Drew Trader in the 25. Brandon Bowie starts on the outside of row 15 in that 54 Toyota.
31st position, the 61 of Daniel Day, who I believe we have an onboard of him tonight, so we'll check in with him later. He starts 31st alongside Robert Colgan in the 94 truck.
And starting in 33rd place, it's Rafe Slate in the number 8. Gary Waterworth starts 34th in the number 2.
And these are just a couple of our trucks that just barely made the field as open trucks. Ben McDonald in 35th. I believe he was maybe the last one to make the field. No, I don't believe so. I think Devin Johnson might have been the last one to make the field as an open truck. Those are 35th and 36th place starting trucks.
And Lucas Strayer's in the 41. He made the field. Andrew Allen in the 96 did not. He will miss it after qualifying in 38th car.
Chris Seidenfaden, he's in the field. He starts 39th. Dean Gagliano was our second of 4 DNQs on the night.
And in 41st was Casey Lakatos in the number 50. He will make it in. Travis Beckner did as well, starting at the tail because of the penalty from last week at 42nd.
And then 43rd, Julian Valadez in the 43rd position, and Sean Peachin in the 44th position. I believe those might be our last 2 starters, possibly, as 45th and 46th. Now, Ryan Swan will start the race tonight for sure. Lyndon Brown in 46th will not.
And Gabriel Toledo is the last of the DNQ trucks. And that's your starting lineup here. It is 43 trucks deep as we get the 1 to green this time by Connor. Take your pick of the field. Who you got winning this thing?
We got a lot of fast drivers at the front, but there are also a lot of fast drivers that are going to be starting at kind of mid-pack or in the rear of the field. So you got a lot of fast drivers to choose from. John Hall won last week. He's 7th. But I'm going for a first-time winner, Sebastian Merritt. I think he's going to win. I believe he's starting 9th. He came up just short last week to John Hall, so I think the 32 gets it done.
Well, I'm going to take a look at Matthew Batby. He's starting in 2nd place, but he's had a very strong start to the season. Well, not at Daytona, but at Texas, P3 after winning on pole. So I think he's in good shape.
He did have a good start at Daytona. He just didn't get the finish he deserved.
Right.
He led into turn 1 on the white flag lap, so he had a very good chance of finishing top 5 in both races. He can't really help Daytona, but definitely a solid pick, and he will run up at the front tonight.
Devin Johnson is one of our onboard cameras tonight. You mentioned Daniel Day. There he is. Of course, Travis Beckner always letting us see inside the cockpit on his rig as well. John Hall has given us a show, and so is JT Poole. So those are our runners here tonight as far as our onboard cameras as we head through the tunnel turn here, Connor. One last look at the weather, and it's partly cloudy skies, but the track temp's higher than the air temp, so that means it could drop, and that could affect this race. Scheduled about an hour and 3 minutes if 70 laps go green from flag to flag.
And it's a little late in the day sim time wise. It got late in the day last night as well in sim time, but a little bit. Yeah, I don't think we'll get as late in the day because it is a shorter race. But that track temp is pretty high, but with the clouds, like you said, I think it will come down and it will change the track as this race goes on.
Well, third round of the season in the Area Truck Series Season 6. We head to the Tricky Triangle in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Here we go. Brad Slaughter Jr., Matthew Batby bringing us to the green flag, and we're underway at Pocono.
Oh, there we go, 4 wide. I'm sorry, I thought that was going to be a crash.
The 33 of David Weishart got pinned up the racetrack. We're still going to be 4 wide for a moment. 3 out of turn 1, Connor, and down the Long Pond Straight. This is wild, and we expected it to be. Can't even keep quiet for the first lap. It's so dramatic, but Matthew Batby takes the lead into the tunnel turn.
Yeah, those initial starts, they're on green, so it wasn't like Slaughter could get a big jump, and that allowed Batby to get to the lead very quickly. But this is how important track position is. I thought we could keep quiet, but we went 4 wide before we even got to turn 1.
Yeah, and that's just the nature of the restarts. We're going to have some trucks going way up the hill. Edward Scherer Jr. is one of them, right on board as we rocket out of turn 3. What turn 4 here at Pocono? You don't have it. You're going to get a big run, though, on that outside lane.
No, Marin tried to go 3 to the bottom, thought better. Maybe that was Euroshak, but Scherer has to give the bump to the back of the 12 truck, as I think both of the 12 and 32 got out of line at the same time. But just as quickly as we got 3 wide, we're mostly 2x2 in single file around the top dozen trucks or so.
And things a lot more orderly the second time around, that's for sure. A couple trucks scraping the wall. We saw a lot of that last night. Not usually a cause for concern unless you bounce off it too hard and then you're ping-ponging into traffic and making a big mess. Little trucks swerving and curving down the backstretch and then into the tunnel turn again. This is a trouble spot. Modeled after the corners at Indianapolis. But Garrett Grant shifts up to 18th place. But he's dropped 1 spot since the race has begun.
I believe it, if I'm not mistaken, it's another start for him. Start 261 or 262 for him, just clicking him off as fast as he can. He's going to push Seth Mill down the main straight, and I think a lot of that swerving into a tunnel turn, it's not really to make moves or maybe scare anyone. It's really just to see where you're going. You can't really see the entry until you're right in it, so you need to kind of swerve out a little bit. Make sure you know where you're entering and when you're entering the corner, so you don't just run over the driver in front of you. We saw a lot of that last night as we're pushing 3 wide, Scherer on the top, but not quite close enough to make that move work.
Yeah, Connor Urashak up a few spots from where he started. We saw all the aggressive motion out of turn 3 on the opening lap, so he's not willing to sit in line. He would like to fight for positions, but he's lost 2. So this is one of those scenarios, and I mentioned it last night. It's like Martinsville at 180 miles an hour. You get up out of the preferred group, you start losing spots. It's really hard to stop the bleeding.
And I gotta say, this is already looking very similar to what we saw in Cup last night. Single file very quickly. Seems like Yershak made a move to the inside that could not stick, and he went backwards freight train because of it. So we're already seeing many similarities between the 2 races. But we are very scrambled at the back.
Got a lot of shuffling back here. 94, Robert Colgan out of line to the bottom. There's Travis Beckner in the 28. Making moves here, and the progress is going to be challenging here, I think, starting so deep in the field at a track that's been so hard to pass, and it looks like it's going to continue to be that way right now as he works his way through the pack.
Even though the tire wear might be a bit more, I think you're still going to see some drivers try some strategy. When you're stuck in line like this, you can't pass. You have no choice but to either short pit or go long. You got to do one or the other. Can't just go on normal strategy. I would not be surprised to see drivers maybe pit lap number 10 or something like that. I'm not sure how strong the draft is going to be because we're still going to see tire fall off to the point where being on your own is probably going to be the move. Compared to last night, you needed that draft to be very fast. He's going to look 3 wide middle on Side and Fadden in the 16 of McDonald, but I would not be surprised to see some drivers peel off in 10 laps or so.
Yeah, try to split this race up in a bit more of an even fashion and plan their run. You're going to run this almost like a road race, and Connor, a lot of that's because you're not going to go a lap down when you pit, so you can make your pit stops early and basically time it out so that you maximize your runs at the end. That's something that you would do on a road course. It's something that you would do at any track that's big enough where you won't go a lap down, and you don't really face the same pack drafting scenario that you do at Daytona or Talladega, where it's a death knell to be by yourself. You can make okay time. I just think in a pack, it's a little bit more predictable to have just a touch of draft.
Yeah, I think, like I said, last night, I think you needed it to be fast. It was a little bit packed up with the Cup car, but it seems like we have the same issues tonight with Aero as we will tonight, as we saw. I think I couldn't tell who that was who almost hit the wall. It might have been Trey Eitzen, very, very close, but I don't think we're going to see the draft play as much of a factor as what I was trying to say. So that might be why we see some drivers come in early, or maybe just try something off strategy to get track position.
It was Trey Eitzen in the 70 with that big wiggle off of turn 2. A couple trucks popping out of line in the background.
Oh my God. You got Shearer running maybe a groove off the wall. The front trying something, but didn't quite work out.
Michael Van Abel in the 95. The inside of Patrick Moose down the Long Pond Straight. He'll tuck in line. That 38 really reminds me of the Brad Sweet Great Clips livery, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah, I could see that. I believe he's a Nexus driver who are partnered with Front Row Motorsports. I believe that would explain the Front Row decal on the deck lid. Shocker, shocker.
Makes sense.
Yeah, they have that partnership, and he's just sitting there in 10th. It seems like a lot of drivers are just sitting pretty much where they started. Patrick Moose moved up maybe 1 lane, 13th to 11th, one a row, I should say, but there really has not been much movement since we did get single file, as we're almost single file through the entire field. First battle is about for 9th, or 8th, I should say, Weishart Pool trade positions.
Interesting to note, look at the average, or the best lap and previous lap speed for Brad Slaughter. We're already down about 0.6 of a second on our quickest lap to the last lap. That was more fall off than we saw in an entire run last night. So Connor, I think you hit the nail on the head there with the tire strategy. It is going to burn up tires. They will matter tonight, and that might be the only advantage you can find.
Yeah, and that's why we might see, that's what we're talking about, strategy. That's why we're going to see so many different things. Caution, we got to crash somewhere, I would assume, out of 2.
And Ben McDonald. And I think it seemed like they've gotten away without too much damage. There is some on the 16.
That makes things a little more interesting because we were still, obviously could not make it on one stop if it went green, but this will probably bring some drivers in to pit, I would think, for a splash. As we'll get the instant replay here. Looked like Trader might have hit the apron, gotten himself loose, couldn't tell.
Yeah, the 16 ran up on him pretty quick. He did get the wall to the inside, but just, he was already committed. It looked like, Trader made a mistake here on the bottom, just gets loose, and then Ben McDonald's already committed. I can't really do much mid-corner there.
Was there smoke up ahead, or was that? I think that was wrong. I don't think there was smoke ahead, but yeah, you could tell Trader went in there and he just never had grip. He was washing up the entire time. Then he kicked sideways.
Was there smoke up? There had to have been. There was definitely smoke up ahead, Connor. You're right.
That looked weird though, because I didn't see a car. That was the thing. I think that's a glitch. I don't think there's anyone up there.
What? I saw what you saw, though.
It's not there anymore. Well, everyone else saw it.
Well, let me see if I rewind it again, if I can get it to happen.
That's kind of weird. We still got 43 trucks running, and we'll see if anyone wants to take a splash. I even see some tires here. Not close to
there's 100% smoke there.
That's so weird, though, because then it disappears. I don't know, so it's like the replay is showing what happened.
Oh, maybe you're right about that.
In the future. Yeah. That's the only thing that could explain, because no one else went around. It was a 2-truck incident.
And no one's Alt F4'd or anything. That's what it looked like happened, but I've never seen that before. And pit stops, and we'll probably have a lot of takers, but maybe some split strategies here? Yes.
Oh, yep. Matheson, Nichols, looks like Eidson, yeah, definitely going to be split. My numbers show we were tracking maybe 3 laps short from halfway on fuel, and that's 3 laps a run to save to make a one-stop. Probably not worth it, but maybe drivers thinking that if we get another flurry of cautions, they could keep their track position and make it on one stop from here without pitting under yellow. But it's not as split as we initially saw. Slaughter and Batby almost hit on pit road. It's really maybe 15 trucks staying out here.
Almost a third of the field, so it's not insignificant, but yeah, there is definitely
I think I see nearly every 609 truck trying to make something happen doing that. As first driver's off pit road. I don't think anyone tried any different strategy tire-wise. Say Sebastian Marin came out second behind Batby.
There was a few that must have taken 2. Travis Beckner, Daniel Day, Robert Colgan. Colgan's pit stop was too short. I think he did fuel only. Devin Johnson might have done 2.
It did look like Beckner did too.
Yeah, so, and Beckner's situation, I would do that because I don't want to, I want track position, but I also want some tires. So that's the mix between the two that you're going to get is with 2 tires. So he just gained nearly 10, 12 spots, and he'll have half as good tires as the guys he pit with and twice as good tires as everyone that didn't.
Yeah, and he came in from probably around 29th position. He had only made it maybe 13, 14 spots up, so he'll restart much higher up. And as long as he can just maintain above 28th, it's a win. But you don't want to lose too many positions to almost be back to square one. As yes, that was all of my trucks staying out. So they're trying to get track position, maybe hope they can save and make it on only 1 green flag pit stop, or maybe even go to a point when they can pit and everyone else is down a set of tires. That's a possibility as well.
And replays tonight provided by Hendry County Motorsports Park. Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360 Top Gun wing splits, Crusoe late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors, teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see the racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, right off U.S. Highway 27. Visit HendryRacing.com for more info. As I've said before, Connor, what entertainment can you get for $15 anymore?
I know. That's pretty exciting. I wish I could get down there. $15. That's a heck of a
Go to
deal.
your local short tracks, man. I'll tell you what. You want to. I mean, they will not sell you water for $6 a bottle. I promise.
No.
There would be.
I wish Myrtle Beach still existed.
Well,
There's one of those lost ones, but that one's Hendry County certainly not lost.
Yeah, some really good tracks up in Wisconsin I should go check out sometime. But I've got enough on my plate with all the road racing as of late. VIR last week, Road America this, so I can't complain. Doubled up here for the restart, Jake Matheson, Jake Nichols, a pair of Jakes, and these two have been so successful in the area series, taking their talents to the trucks, and that shows you how enjoyable this is, Connor. That's not just one night these drivers are competing, they're giving it a go in more than one.
That's what makes it better for the entire series, is when not only are they trying to get the top crown in the Cup Series, but when they come down to try to compete with everyone else, because it's not like, I call them lower series sometimes, but they're not really lower series. There's no I-rating cap or maximum or anything. Anyone can race at anything, and that's what makes it so exciting.
So coming to the restart here, I've been told that it's the Crusoe Sprints. The read is wrong, and I thought I had it right by fixing that. No, it's 360 Top Gun wing Sprints, not Splints. Okay, here we go. Green flag. We're back underway. Lap 11 of 70. And here we go. Matheson to the bottom. 3 wide there as one truck out of line. Just trying to make something happen here. But with about 2/3 of the field on fresher tires, we'll see how this pans out, Connor.
Yeah, we got about 10 or 11 trucks on.
Whoa!
No, they're 4 wide. Waterworth and Miller had contact. The big loser on that one was Batby. He got shoved to the outside.
Yeah, down the back straightaway, they made it somehow through turn 1. I thought that for sure they were going to wreck. We saw some pretty dramatic moments last night that could have ended in disaster as well, but 3 wide into the tunnel turn. And Brad Slaughter Jr. is in a sandwich as the pole sitter. Big wiggle from a couple trucks there.
Cameron
the
Hearn.
67 of Cameron Hearn went for a ride.
I remember making a save at IRP, but that was only at 80 miles an hour. Maybe that was probably 180, and that was way sideways out of a tunnel turn. But we're still not sorted out. It's how important track position is on these restarts. Everyone's trying to get everything. Oh, he's got spin in the back. I think that's Chris Seidenfaden.
Yeah, it's the 45, and caution is out. He did get the wall.
Pit road. Spun onto the pits.
Yeah. Seems like the popular thing to do here, doesn't it?
Funny, because they moved that wall up to prevent that. Didn't prevent it here.
Yeah, so he's kind of in the middle of his own fight back here with the 20. 50, see the 33, 3 wide ahead of him, and does Casey Lakatos get him right here? Oh, he was already wiggling and loose, and Lakatos just kind of finished him off. He almost had it. Oh.
It's almost like he tried to not slam the brakes, because I think he saw the end of that pit wall coming. Maybe tried to avoid it, but then that inside pit wall comes up just as quickly, and you saw right there on the replay, he just wiggles right there, and there's not much Lakatos can do. Even Lakatos looks sideways.
Yeah, he was already kind of going around, and I think just the 50 continued the trip. And yeah, right here, release the brakes and then swings back to the right and just didn't get the tires spinning in the right direction in time to bring that momentum forward. So he hits the wall pretty hard there. I'm sure he'll get that truck repaired, but he already is a lap down.
Yeah, that was a big hit. It's just the worst feeling in the world when you're spinning and you can look to your right, whether you have triple monitors or you have a button map. You look to your right, you see the blunt end of a wall. It is not very fun. You have a decision to make. Do you try to steer out of it, or do you try to slam the brakes and maybe just hope it doesn't kill your car or truck as much? He decided he tried to get out of it and maybe have some room to save it on pit lane. It just didn't happen.
So Jake Matheson leads the way here as we get into our second caution of the night. Here's the critical thing. We've had 3 leaders. I don't know how we've only had 1 lead change. That doesn't seem like that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Mathematically.
Maybe I think maybe because the pole sitter didn't lead a lap. Slaughter was on
pole,
you're
right
but he did not lead
that.
a lap.
Yes, that's how that happened. So that's correct then. The fastest lap, Sebastian Marin. Connor, interesting to note there. He was one of the fastest in practice and fastest so far in the race. He runs down in 10th at the moment.
And he was the fastest to go 3 wide. It's kind of what made Waterworth and Miller have contact. He kind of forced it 3. He got up to 10th. I don't believe he's the highest up. Well, he might be the highest up who did pit. And I know Batby, that restart did not go well for him. I believe he restarted 12th. He did go up to 11th, but he fell back before getting back to that position. This extra yellow makes things interesting. As you can see, Matheson clutching, coasting, saving any fuel possible. This is very good for those drivers who did this for track position and did it to really cut a pit stop out, as even drivers in behind like John Hall saving gas. My number shows that they're pretty close to making it to 35, but then that would still mean they probably need to save 2 to 3 laps at the back end of the second run of their race.
Yeah, so lots of drivers already planning ahead. A few drivers came to pit lane. Lucas Strayer, Robert Colgan, Ben McDonald, and Scherer Jr. is on pit road.
Lakatos.
Ooh, I thought they were going to make contact there.
Oh. There's a very wide pit lane. It's funny that's still happening. I saw the 81 and 89 almost hit on the initial round of stops.
I got to give Robert Colgan credit for actually using the fast lane, and actually who's behind him, Pacey Wygen, actually using the fast lane.
Yeah.
Man,
it's for a reason.
Nothing would make me happier than iRacing having rules to enforce the proper usage of pit road.
It'd be funny if Area enforced it, but that would be a little overboard.
I think it's trickier to do in person, but
it's impossible.
If you gave some linear distance and a graphic on screen that said you need to transition to the fast lane by XYZ time, and, it took note of who was around you, but. So in the SRO, and I like the way that they do this, if you leave your pit box and you're, they care that cars are single file by the time they leave pit road, which isn't necessarily true in NASCAR. But if you leave your pit box and you're side by side with someone in the transition lane, even if you're ahead, if there's any overlap, you have to tuck in behind them. And so it puts extra emphasis on getting a clean pit stop and getting up into accelerated into the fast lane. So it'll be kind of interesting, but.
What would also make things interesting is if they still use those access roads as entry points. Remember, they used to have to enter down there at Miami.
Yeah, I don't know. They use them at Gateway, too?
I know they have to on exit. Yes, they do on entrance. But they don't really have a choice at Gateway.
I just know that some of the tracks that have them Well, you don't need them, and some of the tracks that need them don't have them.
Because I remember years back, I remember they had to use those. We had to use those access lanes at Miami for the longest time in iRacing.
Yep. You know what? One of the worst pit lane exits is Chicago, the NASCAR.
There's
street
no
course.
room there.
I mean, that was totally predictable. The pile up at the exit of the pit lane there, dumping cars into the exit of the first corner, right into the racing line. Yeah. Genius.
It'd be funny if. Yeah. I mean, it's surprising it didn't happen earlier. I don't think it happened here before.
Well, and also I think having the pit entrance, they could have had the pit entrance be prior to the last corner and get cars off the track there rather than at the exit where they have to make the corner and then make a right. And then the restart zone thing. Can I just complain about this for a second? The restart zone at the
Sure.
Chicago street course. Why do they have the acceleration zone before the corner? You have to accelerate and brake at the same time. You can't do that. You know what I mean? If you had it, like, I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to build a gap. But then you just put the acceleration zone in the corner, right, so that you accelerate out of it. But this whole weird thing where, like, you have to go, but you have to brake, like, what the heck is that?
My guess is that they're scared of someone spinning on exit because it's in the corner. It's the only thing I could
Well,
think
then don't
of.
put it in the corner. Then
was,
put it on the straightaway again.
It was really made because they were scared of what happened at Indy happening.
It's like a self-inflicted problem.
I mean, yeah, it's a driver issue, really, and they're trying to fix it. But
Well, it's just, yeah, I don't understand it. It's like racetracks that have the start-finish line too close to turn one, so you have to brake before you get to the start-finish line. On a lap. Yeah. Anyway, let's restart. Jake Matheson's in command. Jake Nichols here into the very pleasantly placed start zone, and we're back underway.
But you need the alternate start-finish line. They did that at Pocono this season,
like
not
that.
an area.
I like that alternate start-finish line. 3 wide into turn 1, and it's the 54 Bowie that got split 3 wide.
Yeah, he's got nowhere to go. He's got Noel on his outside, and then that's Batby on the inside.
Trouble, turn 2, big crash. Big crash.
Nichols, Batby's in it. Jonathan Evans, Trey Eidson. That started at the very front with Jake Nichols somehow.
What a mess. Junkyard out of turn 1. Lap 16 here at Pocono. Wow.
That was weird. That started at the very front of the field. And ooh, it looks like Mason Kane crowded him. And this is just like last night. When a wreck happens on the exit of 1, you don't have many places to go.
The 81's in it. I mean, this is how do you not get in it at this stage?
Whoa, Jeremy Miller must have gotten by it. I think Spencer Burns might be okay too, but look at how quickly this track blocks.
That is a big one.
And that was a lot of fast trucks here too. I don't think Nichols had anywhere to go. And he slams in the inside wall.
Oh, look at the 89 just getting tossed around there.
Slaughter's in it. I think Tyler Hallman. There's Danny Ware.
Travis Beckner's 12th after this. Here's what he saw.
No gap, nowhere to go, just hoping something happens. Oh, and it just opened up at the last second.
That was wild. Have a look at
must have had a wild right
Trey
here.
Eidson here. He's right there. That's where all starts.
Yeah, and he takes a big hit to the safer barrier as well. He kind of saw Beckner go through there.
Yeah, so going back to how this all begins, and we might need to slow this down. There's a little bit of net code there, Connor, but this is one of those net code incidents that would have happened anyway.
I mean, he's look how fast he's coming up. That contact's going to happen. Maybe it doesn't turn the 31 fully around, but he kind of came up thinking he was clear, and he wasn't.
Yeah, it's close. And
trying to take my Dale Jr. cap off.
And the thing is, I mean, for Jake Nichols, he has to keep in the throttle, right? I mean, there's no reason why he should lift. He's got overlap there. I mean, maybe you could say it's early back out of that, but everyone, you know how hard it's past. You got to fight for it. And
it's a product of the racing we've been seeing. We saw it get single file hard to pass after 2-3 laps on our first run, and at that point, you have to keep everything you got.
Yeah,
I mean, he's there. There's not much he could do.
Gosh, that 31 picks up in the air.
And just look how quickly it blocks.
9. It's hit in a big way there as well. But man, that 31 of Mason Kane. Just tracking up, tracking up, tracking up.
And it's even worse when they're 3x3 behind this, because then you got even less options because you got people side by side. Look at John Hall barely squeak through that.
0-6 in it.
There goes Euroshack. There goes, I think Seth Knoll has some front end damage.
Yeah, so Knoll, one of the trucks got through it and then got spun out later.
I think that was Burns. Or did someone spin even later than Burns?
Thought so, but maybe not. Huh. Either way, big mess.
Look at a bumper bouncing in the background.
Yeah.
I just noticed that.
For lap 16, we've got a junkyard to pick up on the back straightaway.
Yeah, and last night it happened, what, 3.5 laps to go? We're not even a third of the way through.
I was told that Brandon Bowie had quite the view of this as well. So let's, where did he land? He's P4. Let's see. He wasn't P4 in the wreck. Here, have a look at this.
This is from about 7th or 8th.
Oh my goodness. There's the 0-6 spin that we saw.
I'll see Jeremy Miller's viewpoint. It looked like he was one of the few drivers who made it to the inside, but there's another view of Bowie. And Miller's actually on his inside. Miller, his left rear got very close, actually. And there he is. Comes back out, and now we're back to live. A lot of drivers needing repairs, like Ware, Burns, Jake Nichols. This Trey Eidson's getting a repair. A lot of fast trucks. Sebastian Marin got a big piece of that as well. What this has done is kind of take out a lot of drivers who hadn't pit yet. You only have the top 4 who haven't taken a pit stop yet. Jake Matheson, Patrick Moose, John Hall, and Brandon Bowie. Seems like everyone else has taken a pit stop.
1 to green now, and we'll restart lap 20. You're right, top 4 have not made their first stop of the day just yet. There's a lot of trucks with damage. I mean, the timing screen from 33rd on down is kind of a bloodbath.
Yeah, there's a number of drivers who I'm sure are not going to get back on track. Marin is one of those. Looks like Kane, Batby, Evans are all going a lap down, or actually Batby might be lead lap, but he's got a lot of rear end damage.
These trucks, Eitzen and I think Spencer Burns right behind him, they got to go because pace car moves quick here, and even at full tilt, I don't know that you're going to catch the field. So, yeah.
They're not going to make it for sure, but with how much damage, especially the 06 has, I don't think it's a big concern of theirs. They're probably hoping for more attrition, but at a track this big, it could make it less attrition, and we'll just have to see how everyone wants to race.
Well, it has been exciting so far, and almost exciting as Elite Entertainment adds some life to the party this summer with Elite Entertainment, located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Elite Entertainment provides high-quality band production to entertain at any location, including karaoke, singo, and more. Visit Linktree/Elite Entertainment LLC for all contact info. Singo, music bingo. So something about that word makes me not a fan of it. I'm sure it's very fun, but singo feels. It's like the bingo song. Bingo, what's his name? What's that from?
I can't remember off the top of my head. You got me wrapped up into singo.
Well, let's
lingo.
Get it going. Singo lingo. There you go. Nice work.
There you go. I wrapped it around.
Lap 20. Restart. Jake Matheson, Patrick Moose on the front lane, and we're underway again at Pocono.
See how these top 4 hang on. There's a lot less trucks they have to cushion them to the drivers on fresh tires compared to before, but it's all about if we can get off turn 1. We're 3 wide again, been able to kind of force Balliet up the track.
Out of turn 1 again. Do we make it this time? A couple trucks a little squirrely whirly there. Still 2 and 3 wide. Connor Urashak, remember where he started 19th? He was kind of in the thick of it for a while. He's up to 3rd now. Bowie 30th to 5th.
He's another one of those drivers like Beckner who needed to try something strategy-wise to get that track position. It's working out so far.
4, 2, and 3 wide back here in the field. The 88 of Justin Anasogak. Work his way forward, 18th, down to 23rd at this stage. Little wiggle there out of the 25 of Drew Trader. We'll see if Anasogak keeps his foot in it. Yes, he does. Aero bubble slowing that climb down just a touch as they almost came together there.
We got Yaroshak already making his way up to third. It doesn't seem like he has enough fresh of tires to really charge the exits to get runs on at least the top two so far, but tires making a difference. A bunch of drivers just slapped the wall hard in the background. One of those might have been Miller.
It just matters so much more to commit than it does, you know, a scrape of the wall you can handle, but if you lift, I mean, you feel like your day's over, even though hitting the wall is probably not helping your cause. You just feel so much better if you can just stay in the throttle even longer. Here's Brendan Bowie under fire from JT Poole, who's had an interesting day so far. He's going to drop to the bottom. I didn't pick him to win, Connor, but I think he's absolutely capable of it. Been in the top 10 most of the night.
One of those drivers on fresher tires, that was where we saw the tire advantage really shine there, is through the flat turn number 3. He was just able to throttle up on exit and clear that 54 with no issue. So he's got a little bit of work to do to get back to the top 3, but Matheson moves able to stay 1-2. I wonder if they get in dirty air, if they would fall even harder, but Yaroshak's not able to really go anywhere else.
Oh, truck in the wall there. Oh, trouble. Turn 1,
crash.
And it's the 62.
Ooh. Hallman, McDonald, and Robert Colgan. 16, that's the second time he's hit the inside wall hard.
Third yellow tonight, and third yellow? Yes, fourth yellow. Hallman was the first one I saw sideways. Let's see if we can pick up how it happened.
And 16's not going to survive this one. This was very far at the back. I wonder if this brings Matheson to pit road, but let's get a look at this.
So he was, the 16 was alongside him here. And I think it's going to be a similar story. Going to track up the hill.
Same exact thing, but the 16 is, I think, lower that time.
Right.
Hallman did a good job not hitting the wall harder, but the 16 kind of carried the 94 into the inside wall here.
He's a little lower. I mean, it's so close, right? Like, it's hard to... In the moment, it's a big hit.
Whoa, which one of the Hendry County trucks made it through that one? That was close.
Yeah, who was that? I thought it started with a 2.
Maybe it was not Marin. Maybe, I don't think it was Bappy either.
No.
Maybe Daniel Day?
Where's Daniel Day running this? Oh, maybe it was a 61. Let's have a look.
61, yes.
Have a look on board the 61. Oh, wow. Okay, we have to go back even further. Wow, that was close. Holy cow. I mean, that's unbelievable.
I didn't even realize Hallman caught way more air than I thought he did.
These trucks get really light now with this new aerodynamic model. Wow, you see a pickup, chases it down. It's bumpy down there.
Oh, that was a next-gen car. He probably could be wrecked because the bumps are even more harsh.
Yeah. So the top 2, and Brendan Bowie and John Hall, have yet to pit. This will be their first opportunity. Still got the clutch in and the ignition off.
Still trying, I guess, to make this strategy work. I mean, every yellow makes this much, much more doable if they stay out. But look, yeah, Matheson's going to fake it. Bowie is going to commit and just pit now and come off that strategy, but Matheson's going to still try it.
Well, they dragged a lot more trucks than I thought, but I don't like... I mean, at this point, I think you're committed, right? Because if this group didn't come, then you were going to be in really big trouble as far as track position. There's a truck on... Fire might be... It's a 16. I was say fire might be dramatic, but
no fire yet. Not modeled. Maybe new fire model, the V2, eventually. Jonathan Evans, he still has no front end. I mean, we still have so many total trucks. That's he's not sponsoring Zero Sugar, though.
No, he's not.
Oh, this was Tom Bourne's ride last year, actually. He's taken over the 16.
Tom Bourne had some good runs in this championship before as well. Working lap 24 of 70 here, and the way that these races run, the laps are quick. I mean, they're 54-second laps, but they happen in a hurry. There's not that many of them. So when this race gets a green flag run, they click away really fast. So I think we're always getting close to it when we're about 20 minutes away from the end. We've got 43 minutes, roughly, to go. And it means that it could be done by the bottom of the hour, which would be a pretty quick race, actually.
Yeah, season 1 actually only had 2 cautions, and we were already past that, and that race with 2 cautions lasted 63 minutes. But that was also a shorter race. That was a 60-lap race.
Yeah, how many drivers were in that?
Look off the top of my head, I do have the... Well, not off the top of my head, I do have the results. About 30 total.
Yeah,
so
that's
much
a big
different type
difference,
of field.
Shorter race, less trucks.
And not too many. There are a decent amount of drivers who were in that race that are in the race today. Beckner, Cameron Hearn, they finished top 5 that day. Drew Trader finished 9th. Shane Wolf, I'm trying to look. I believe Adam Capps, Jacob Bell, Slaughter, Ryan Swan. So there are a lot more drivers that actually overlap from that race to this race than I thought as we get the one to green.
Lights are out on the pace car, and next time by, we go back green. And the High Banks podcast, just 2 blue-collar guys, Nick and Alex, talking about NASCAR and more. Listen to episode 205 with Brad Slaughter. New episode with Jacob Bell coming soon, available on Spotify. It's the High Banks podcast, new partner for 2024 Season 6 with the Area Truck Series, Area Cup Series, and the Florida Estate Builders Pro Series, which, where are we in their calendar this week, Connor? I can't remember.
Also, Pocono for the Pro Series.
We're back on calendar because of the way that they handled that. So,
and then the off week that would have been somewhere around first week of October. That's when we have to make up Texas for the Pro Series.
So down the Long Pond Straight, Nick Matheson is going to get another restart out in front of this field. He's led 17 of the 25 laps so far, mostly by just pacing at the moment, and we've had a look at the stats a couple of times, but 25 laps so far, 12 laps of them, about half have been under yellow, so hoping for some green flag running here shortly. Still 3 leaders, 1 lead change. And the 38, Patrick Moose now has the fastest lap.
And that was on older tires as well. He still hasn't pit, so that's actually very impressive. We still saw a fall off much bigger than last night, but clearly still being at the front, being in clean air, and maybe having a little bit of draft still pays dividends. And I think these 2 drivers who are still trying to get to the halfway point without making a stop, they're noting that, and everyone else behind him is too.
Nick Matheson in command again at Pocono for the Area Truck Series. After caution number 4, we're back underway. A lot of single file.
Yeah. Also, Matthew Batby lagged out under yellow, but he is back out there. But he's got at least 1 lap to make up.
Well, he's not out there. See him spun out. Saw the smoke trails.
Huh.
I had my LOD settings not set properly here. Down the back straightaway. Long Pond Straight. We're side by side for second on back. Travis Beckner has made his way to the front. The strategy's worked out for him to get him the track position he needs. Right back in the mix, and there's still enough to go as far as the chaos of this night that I think now, I mean, the penalty is a wash. He's where he needs to be with a long, long way to go.
And keep in mind, I believe he's still on 2 tires. I saw Matheson almost slam the wall out of a tunnel turn. It let Yuroshak have a chance to cross him over, get to the inside out of turn number 3, but he has no help. And it really depends on which lane Beckner goes to. If he just pushes a 52, he's going to go backwards, but it looks like he's going to push Yuroshak.
2 by 2 down towards turn 1, pushing and shoving. You see it's getting spicy right now. Look at how much he's looking in the mirror mid-corner. Slides into second place as Yuroshak goes to the top. Matheson to third. Now down the Long Pond Straight again.
And this is where we see maybe Moose and Matheson, they might start to drop here because they are on significantly older tires, and now they're in dirty air. Much more dirty air, I should say, for the 38, but dirty air for the first time on older tires for Matheson. And they still got probably 10 more laps to go.
Yeah, before they start having to worry about fuel and the consideration there. A little squeeze there with the 38 up the racetrack. That's Drew Jua, and the 13 and the 7 of Josh Balliette. That kind of cut things close there out of the tunnel turn.
Hearn just slid his way to the high side on the outside of Jua, but made it work. Then he got a shove behind him. John Halt's getting a shove from someone in behind him. That's Reese Schaefer, the highest open truck in points and second in points up there in the 07. Scherer just dove 3 wide to the inside. And here goes Van Apel on the outside. Let's not go 4 wide quite yet. Squeeze out of turn number 1, but we made it work that time.
Down the back straightaway, who pulled in the line back there? That was cheeky.
41, Lucas
41.
Strayer.
Yeah, and we're going to be 3 wide into the tunnel turn unless the 17 backs out. He wisely does. Still early enough in this race. I don't know if I would want to be 3 wide there. Seth Knoll are on the outside of the tunnel turn with a big head of steam.
And it looks like he got whatever nose damage he had repaired. He's moving back up through the field. Pretty fast, I should say, but there were a lot of trucks that did have damages. Once again, we're starting to see the front maybe dozen or so get singled out. Beckner just tapped the wall for a second, but no damage done.
3 wide back here. Brad Slaughter Jr., man, what a tough night this has been. Started up in the front row, didn't even lead a lap. Now he's down as low as 37th. He's back up to 23rd, but he is in the thick of it right now, kind of the danger zone here.
And he's another one of those drivers. It looks like he might have gotten majority of the damage repaired, but you can see how hard it is to pass because he got even less off throttle time, I think, in these trucks than we did last night in Cup. So it's just about playing the lanes right. You see Brandon Bowie having to get back through the field. He has some of the freshest tires in the field now.
Casey Lakatos watching from 26th as they work their way through the tunnel turn, back up the road a little bit.
And we're starting to see those tires struggle for Patrick Moose. Matheson's still 4th, but Patrick Moose has fallen all the way back to 8th.
JT Pools alongside Travis Beckner. Will we see the side draft get utilized? Yes! JT's going to get to the quarter panel and start to move back by the 28. Joshua Balliet, Jake Matheson just watching.
Had contact in the back, I believe, Marin and Weishart. I think Marin tapped Weishart, put him in the wall accidentally, just a bump draft gone wrong. As we're going to see a lot of that today, I would think, maybe a little bit more, as Poole and Beckner. Matheson can't go anywhere because he wants to keep the high side. He's on older tires, so he's really not trying to go to the inside or else he'll be freight trained like the 38 was. What this is letting happen is Euroshak get the biggest lead of the night, already 0.4 of a second. It was 3.5 tenths entering the tunnel turn. He gained 2 tenths alone because they were side by side. Yeah, all these trucks except for Matheson on equal strategy, so the 3 out the windshield here. All 21 laps on their tires, 30 for Matheson. And Travis is going to use that fast outside groove. Poole pulls in line ahead of Jake Matheson, who's going to give him a shot, and that's going to leave Beckner, I think, vulnerable here to another run down into turn 1. This time JT sits on it. And that was a single file all the way back to 24th. Then they were side by side for 25th. Daniel Day, David Weishart, he's getting a shove from the 20 of Ryan Swan, with Marin still struggling to get back through the field. Marin's actually the one battling from a lucky dog. It's a fierce lucky dog battle. He got Marin, but then he's got to battle Spencer Burns. And so it was really those two battling for it. Then he got a few others lapped down that are too far back, but those two are battling their own battle.
Be some frustration there for Daniel Day. Kind of feels boxed in, I think. Gave a shot to, that was
Ryan Swan.
Oh, Ryan Swan, you're right, on the 20. Tight squeeze back here as they're all trying to just get in line with each other.
Marin's just trying to get away from the 0-6 because with how long this run has already been, if one of those drivers don't get the lucky dog now, they might struggle to get it later.
Casey Wygen, Edward Scherer Jr. on the bottom. Freight training Rafe Slate in the 8. One truck peeling off to pit lane in the background, that's Mason Kane.
Still dealing with damage on that 31 truck as Slate gives the left side door to the 17. We'll see if Wygen tries to give draft to the 17, not quite. Mason Kane retires from the race, and we're starting to see that outside freight train. Shearer's going to try to maybe get back in line. Couldn't do it in time. Garrett Grant just creeped that door open. Now Scherer, he's going to try to stay to the inside because I think he knows he's faster than Rafe Slate, but Rafe Slate knows he needs to keep track position. It's all about just hoping someone sees what you see. If you're that driver that's trying to pass a slower truck, you just need to hope the driver who's the pusher can see what you're seeing.
Watch this. Garrett Grant going to set up this run onto the front straightaway here as Edward Scherer Jr. kind of pulled a slider on Rafe Slate.
But I think if you're Garrett Grant here, you know Slate's slower. You go at the 17 here and make him go backwards. That's what we saw last night. That's what we should see here. But you might see Slate try to pull a slider of his own, but didn't drive it in nearly hard enough to make it work. And Scherer didn't really give him the room. They made contact there. Way sideways out of the corner. It's going to let Garrett Grant get a run. He gets sideways. And now it's going to be the two behind, Peachin and Brandon Bowie trying to get a run.
And Brad Slaughter Jr.'s middle 3 wide again. He has found himself in that position a number of times tonight. Down the long pond straight into the tunnel turn. Big lunge on the 57 of Julian Valadez. Now, almost a touch there.
Miller's just trying to get back through the field. He just gave Bowie a shot. Accordion effect.
Whoops.
54 into a 69. 30 backs up into 57. 81 goes to the inside.
You can just predict it, right? I mean, you see one driver kind of slow up, but then it just rockets down the chain like you're coupling a freight train together. Just all the slack gets pulled out of it, and then sooner than later, someone's in the fence.
And Wygent and Hall are going back and forth. They're the furthest up side-by-side battle. You can see both side-by-side battles up in this screen. That was 0-0-3 going to the corner as we got the leaders coming out of the corner. Matheson and Moose, they went 4th to 8th. They've stayed there ever since, so they're really only maybe 3-4 laps away from their stop. So this is working out all right so far. And once again, everyone still has to make at least one more pit stop regardless.
About a lap and a half away from halfway. Lap 36 of 70 when we trip that timing and scoring loop, then we'll be halfway through this race. And it's amazing how quick the laps turn when you're traveling at 180 miles an hour average versus the 75 or so under pace speeds. Valadez way up the hill, but we've seen this outer groove work at times if you can keep your foot in it, and he will do that right behind the 30 of Miller on corner exit.
I could tell Jeremy Miller's frustrated. He was not having any of that shut the door, but it's going to work out for him. He's going to get past the 81, maybe swerve at him a little bit as he goes by, and once again, that freight train we see happens all the time, but the difference in that, or at least the other side of that, is the accordion into the corner that allows the 81 to drive it in deep and then slide right back up in front of a 30, but Miller pretty much shoved the door wide open, made sure he could get back up.
These trucks are racing like the Cup car is to watch, where you just know how frustrating it is for the drivers, that if you lift, you get passed by 10 cars, but to make gains takes you laps and laps and laps. As the 69 of Peachin makes a mistake there, but it's just, you know how frustrated everyone's getting behind the wheel and how much more desperate that makes everybody in their pursuit forward. Oh, trouble!
Oh, Jua got put in the wall by Cameron Hearn.
You'll remember that. I mean, it's tight quarters racing, but as a driver condo, that's got to make you upset.
Yeah, he's not going to take that very kindly. It just looked like both drivers were fighting for that piece of real estate on exit, and just kind of a little bit of misjudgment, I believe, on a 67. We maybe get a look at that, maybe not. It's still single file once again. Maybe the top 20. It's Miller and the 69 of Peachin side by side. Miller, I think, pulled the slider in the 1 and made it work. Peachin almost squeezed Valadez in the wall as we got the replay of that. Same thing as turn 1. Hearn kind of up into Jua there a little bit, but you could see how far back the 13 is. Yeah,
he's going to get a big run here on corner X. If you're the 67, you're kind of mad that he drove all the way up to your outside there, and they tangle even before the corner exit. That was the 13 maybe being a little brave there as well. I mean, you're kind of in a blind spot, and you're hoping the other guy is going to see you and that he's going to be able to react to the spotter call, but the 67 was already committed. So I don't think the 13 is entirely blameless there, but I think either way, both drivers will be upset at the other. Someone's against the wall on the...
Jacob Bell.
What's he doing down there?
Just chilling. He's got some door damage. It's probably making him struggle. Still hanging on to maybe at least the top, almost top 25.
All right, so now the field's mostly single filed out. You're going to click off laps. There's a lot of drivers that are pretty deep into their fuel stint here. And, well, as I say that, here comes JT Poole to the bottom.
You can't tell who's faster out of these two because they're both able to stay with Euroshack. And meanwhile, Matheson on those older tires, you kind of see a little bit of an accordion that he has behind him. He's not terribly slow, but just enough that he can't really stay with those top 3 quite as well, with Balliet, Cameron Hearn in behind him. We still can't be too far away from those two that are 38 and 52 pitting, but they're going to go at least one more.
Yeah, so there are 37 laps, you see on the ticker there, 37 laps into their run. But we had 4 yellow flag periods where they were just clutching in and saving fuel. So it's very possible they can go much longer than anticipated. The rule of thumb is generally you're burning half as much fuel on a pace lap as you are on a full speed lap, but that's probably if you're not really trying, right? So you can save quite a bit, especially with how straight and long everything is here. Just push the clutch in and coast.
And meanwhile, Balliet's getting tired of it. He's going to go to the inside of Jake Matheson, but Hearn did kind of push him, but gets back in line to get the arc into the corner. And they're going to lose a lot more time to those top 3 doing this as a thing. It's going to be especially bad if Balliet can't make this move, and it's almost certainly, 100% certain Matheson's got to go at least one more lap. Can't pit from up there. It's way high trying to protect his right rear.
Yeah, 7's going to get a big run here. Well, yeah, so it's 52. Yeah, he couldn't stay in the throttle. Here comes Cameron Hearn. Will he give him a bit of a shove? Yes.
Looked committed to him there.
And look, he's going to get him again. This new drafting model. Look at how much speed they gained on the 52. They just didn't do anything with it.
Yeah, I don't think Balliet wanted to make the pass there. He's been trying this outside run out of turn number 1 to get the run on the 52. He might have the right rear. This is going to be tight. Matheson didn't fight at that time.
Just amazed at this new drafting and aero model. We saw, in the past you might have only get one shove and then you lose all your momentum. He gave a shove, backed off, and then got another run in time for turn 1. That's not something that we've seen before.
How about Seth Knoll's pace? He was in that crash. He just got 8th away from the 38 of Patrick Moose. We'll see if he pits. He's on the bottom. The one car has been really moving since the initial restart where he did have some front end damage.
I still think, for those that haven't pit yet, there goes Balliet. Actually, that's JT Poole, rather.
Cool.
And I still think that they can go a few more with what they saved, but not a long ways. Got 30 laps to go, though, next time by, Connor. So as far as your window, you're in it, I'd imagine, right?
Yeah, I would say so. You can make it from here. It is interesting Poole did that. He was one of those drivers who pit at the first yellow, lap number 8. I'm certain he could have gone at least a little bit longer, but chose not to.
Well, how many laps was he in on his run? If it was lap 8, that would have been, 32 laps? So he's basically split this in half, and he's going to maximize his tire life doing that.
Yeah, but it is kind of interesting. It's just funny that Matheson was able to go longer, obviously by choice, but this is going to be 40 laps here. But once again, if he wants to pit, he better have enough fuel because he is boxed in on the top line and won't get to the inside in time to make that pit entry. Here comes more drivers. Patrick Moose, who was one of those drivers who didn't pit, he comes in. John Hall, looks like Jeremy Miller. Brad Slaughter spins on pit road. Into a wall hard, too. And there's going to be no caution for that, and he got a big damage on the front.
Yeah, that's a nasty impact there, and just looked like he was pulling in pretty late. Just locked up the rears, hit a bump, and then bam, into the fence. And you're right, it was a big hit. It was square, though. I'm sure he'll be able to repair it, but at what cost to the time?
Oh, Venable got a bump from Jua out of 1. I don't know how they saved that. That was incredibly tight out of turn number 1. We'll see who else wants to pit here this time around. It is a deceptively difficult pit entry to get to because you really got to slow down and you can't go on exit. There's the contact of a 95. That's a heck of a save, I'll say. Looks like Jurashak and Beckner stay out. Here comes Jake Matheson, who stretched the field probably as far as it could go. Almost 41 laps. Rafe Slate and Garrett Grant will be the only ones to follow this lap.
Beckner and Jurashak, he has separated the gazelle from the herd, so to speak. 33 laps on their tank, and what are we looking at? 28 to go next time by, so they're definitely past the halfway point. If you're trying to maximize your tire life, you would have already pit, but I think there's something to be said about having a bit better tire than everyone else at the end. Again, I don't love the overcut strategy, though, Connor, because you don't have. I think it's so hard to pass. I think the undercut works better when it's tricky. You get ahead and then you defend. I think that's the move. I don't like running long here, so we'll see what this does. But I would much rather come in early, which is honestly why I think JT Poole's move was pretty good.
Yeah, the only good thing, I don't know how this is going to work. Here comes Seth Knoll to pit road, lap 42. He might be all alone as far as the main leaders who have not come down yet. But I think the undercut's pretty good because you do protect from a caution. And if that caution does come out, it's even with some of the tire wear, we were able to see drivers stay at the front. So it's likely most of those drivers who have undercut, or if there's a yellow maybe the next 5-10 laps, it's likely they just stay out, keep the track position, and maybe try going to the very end of the race. So overcut is interesting. I think the tire wear is enough where this can still work, but they gotta have a lot go their way.
Not that I'm trying to bring out a commentator curse here, but we're far enough into the run now where I think it'd be weird to get a yellow at this stage. I don't want to plan on it, but I feel pretty comfortable with this race going green for a while, even especially after the pit stops, because when everyone's even more spread out. So if your strategy revolves on yellows, I'm not sure I'd commit to that.
Here comes a lot of drivers. Balliet's in from 3rd. Next driver behind him, Drew Jua, and I believe some other teammates of his, actually.
Share Junior's there, Reese Schaefer.
3 Lucky Ducks trucks.
What happened to the scoring pylons? They used to work.
I don't know.
They don't
Sometimes
work
they do,
anymore.
sometimes. Well, I've seen they do sometimes, but sometimes they don't. I'm not sure what decides it.
Every time I've noticed it, I haven't seen them working anymore. I know that they have in the past, but maybe they don't work in
It's SMI.
spectator
They're taking
mode.
them. It's SMI. They're taking them down in sim racing too.
Yeah. Certainly. Anyway, Travis Beckner's still hard at work here trying to get by Connor Urashak, and we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. I mentioned earlier that things are getting close to being over when you're about 20, 25 minutes to go, and that's where we are now. 25 or so laps left in this race, and they're going to go by quick.
Here comes Hearn from third.
Pretty late, 26 laps left. Beckner got into the back of Urashak big that time.
Yeah.
A real big shot.
That was a big whack. I'm still trying to figure out who's the first one who has hit. I believe JT Poole's running somewhere in 20th, 21st.
So here's what I don't get. So look at the lap times here, left-hand side of your screen. Travis Beckner's running 2 full seconds off of his best time, right? So with how tricky it is to pass, wouldn't you rather have pitted earlier and be ahead of everybody? I know you're going to have a disadvantage, but it's been so tricky to pass and to gain ground when you're not in the draft is so hard. I think there's too much. It's too hard to pass and too much fall off to consider. I mean, it's weird because fall off is usually a good thing, but there's a lot of fall off and it's hard to pass. So I say
Matheson. Whoa, sorry, Jake Matheson's totaled on pit road. What in the world happened? What in the world happened to the 52? The front end's off of it.
That's odd. Let's go back and see if we can find pick up. This is on the racetrack, and it was out of. He just hit.
Something happened to his wheel.
Something's weird. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Let's ride on board.
It's like it turned. It's like it disconnected and turned dead left.
Oh, you know what? I think his screen.
Maybe his screen came off and he just turned left to get out of the way. But that just ruined his race completely. He was on a solid strategy himself.
Yeah,
so that's a shame.
That's a shame, and it looks like a screen failure because usually you'll see drivers know where that they can just grind against the wall and stop without bringing out a yellow, and so that's what he did. And here come the leaders.
Here they come.
Whoa, Urashak bobbles, and Beckner just gets it slowed down, but he's going to pull even with the 12 onto pit lane.
Here come a lot more of the leaders behind him. Ryan Swan, Sean Peachin, some of the few that still had yet to pit. I still believe JT Poole might be the leader as far as drivers who have pit so far, and if he is, he's got a pretty decent gap to everyone else.
But now we have to effectively wait. There's still another 13, 14 trucks that owe us pit stops here, but I am curious to see how it'll start to cycle out. Now, JT Poole is the one I'm most interested in, and he is going to cycle to be the leader, Connor, and I don't think it's going to be all that close either.
Not quite. He's got Tyler Hallman behind him. I don't believe he's pit.
No.
I think Patrick Moose should be second. He was one of the drivers who only has taken one set of tires, has only been to pit road that one time.
And he only pitted one lap after JT. So to find anyone with any kind of big advantage, you've got to go back to Scherer. I mean, this is a big differential. I really like what JT did strategy-wise. I'm not saying it's the only way to win this race, but I think he knew his stuff and put himself in a good position.
I'm starting to think, I think really the only way this overcut works for guys like the 00, the 54, 41, they need this to go green like to the very end of their fuel window and just hope everyone else's tires are so worn out that they'll feel obligated to pit. It's the only way this works because they're losing so much time, and even more so than the 28 and 12 where they're just giving themselves less time to make up for that tire difference.
Casey Wygant leads, Brandon Bowie, Lucas Strayer, they're all leading this field.
Battle for what would be second or third is Seth Knoll and John Hall. I was about to say they're doing a good job working together, pushing, but clearly not the case.
Yeah, again, I think JT's put himself in a great position. Patrick Moose is quicker. He's still 2.8 back. And then these guys are just racing really hard, so I don't know that they're going to gain any ground. And they're actually on the same strategy as Patrick Moose in second. So.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising that they're battling this hard. You figured one would let the other go, but not quite yet. I think Knoll might have more speed to make it work. Had to really stay low to not get into a 62 of Hallman, but they are able to make it work, and Noel does get by as this battle for the lead, or battle to get back on the lead lap, or at least get a lap back. Oh, they're on a door for the lead almost. Bowie's trying to get by.
Yeah, Pacey Wygen in the green truck is the leader. Then Brandon Bowie in the purple truck is the chaser here. Bowie's got 10 laps fresher tires, so he will complete this pass, and Wygen crosses him over out of turn 3.
This is what doesn't help either of them, really. I think the best thing they could do for each other is just not battle and lose themselves time.
Yeah, I think they're in the position of waiting for a yellow, and I don't know that they're going to get that unless they get very lucky.
Case Licata's pits from 4th, so we're still waiting on around the top 5. That's it. Bowie, Wygen, Anasogak, Day, and Eidson.
Travis Beckner, 18th, but notably he is back about 12 spots from JT Poole. 11 now as Casey Lakatos comes out of pit lane. So again, I don't know. Maybe they know something I don't, Connor, but they got a deep hole to dig out of as Cameron Hearn's going to try to split the difference here in this crazy battle. The 0-7 to Reese Schaefer, second to the points, trying to protect that run in the championship. He's carving through the field.
Miller is on older tires, but he did a good job getting behind Scherer and kind of distancing himself from the other Lucky Ducks teammates, but I'm sure in turn 3 on exit, they'll kind of get to him rather quickly. As trying to look at the time, see when the 28 and 12 can get there. 28 did a much better job through pits, kind of lost Euroshack as Pacey Wygen comes down to pit lane, so waiting on the front 3 with Bowie pitting as well. Last time by even through traffic, Beckner was maybe half a second faster than the 26, but that gap there, that difference is not going to be as much as he gets through that traffic, I would think.
It's clinical behind the wheel right now. We haven't seen that.
Crash. Chris Seidenfaden just crashed, and the caution's out.
Oh, that changes a lot. All right, well, there goes my theory that we wouldn't see a yellow flag.
That is exactly what Brandon Bowie and Pacey Wygen wanted to see.
Well, they already pit, though. Well, I guess that's right. They didn't go a lap down, so they're going to be... Yeah, interesting. So here's what happened to Seidenfaden. Just gets... Oh, that was weird.
Danny Ware missed the corner, and Seidenfaden had nowhere to go.
Yeah, they just came together. Bring out a caution at a really weird time here, because we were not done with the pit cycle.
No, we still had 3 trucks to go. Just Anasogak, Daniel Day, Trey Eidson they won't cycle to the lead because they will have to come down. But this will open up strategy for everyone who has pit. We might see drivers come back down for maybe their final pit stop, but I go see a lot of drivers just, throw their pit guys over to Charlotte, North Carolina, where we go next week, and just stay out for the rest of the race.
Yeah, JT, I think, is going to be really frustrated to see him there.
Yeah,
I think he was set to win this. I mean, I really do believe he would have won this race hand over fist, but now it's going to be a lot more challenging. I think he knows that.
The issue here is you got Beckner and Euroshack on fresher tires. Almost certainly they will stay out. And he's kind of in a box because if he pits, he's behind him with not much fresher tires. But if he stays out, they have fresher tires than him, and it's going to be hard to defend.
I don't know that the tire difference to the other cars is a huge deal, so much as it is that they're all going to be right on top of him now. Like, the tire difference is only a handful of laps. I mean, when you get to 25 to 30 laps, now you're really struggling, right? But his advantage over, or disadvantage over the freshest tires is only 5-6 laps in most cases. But the problem is that they've got 30 trucks on his tailgate, and he didn't before. So that's really what puts him in a bind. Now let's see. Anasogak is going to owe us a pit stop. Daniel Day, Trey Eidson, they're all going to come down, and will everybody else do the same? Yes.
Let's see.
Pretty much.
And there goes Euroshack. He stays out. I don't think Beckner did, though. But Euroshack and Beckner split strategy. We did have a lot more others even further back than the 12 stay.
So now I don't get, I mean, for the 28, I would have rather stayed out now, I would think, right?
I would think so. I wonder if we see 2 tires here. I would think we'd have to see at least one driver try it.
That's got to be a great move, I would think. I mean, again, the tires are worth something, but they're not, it's hard to pass. So get the track, you can't not take tires, but you need the track position almost more.
Patrick Moose. Looks like Patrick Moose took 2 tires, and it looks like Shearer, Hall, even Anasogak might have. A lot of different strategies.
Yeah, most people took 2 tires, actually. More like a 50-50 split, I'd say, as far as tire choice.
JT Poole he came out maybe 8th or so off of pit lane. Actually make that 10th. And these are the drivers who stayed out. All the way, let's see, you got Wygent and Bowie are going to be at the back of the drivers who stayed out, but in reality, they're the first of the drivers on fresh tires. So in that sense, it's really going to work out for them. Casey Lakatos is the first driver who is truly on a stay-out basis, I would say.
Yeah, we'll see how this pans out. Before we get there, though, because it's about to get really spicy, nearly as spicy as Rick's Hot Sauce. Head over to rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And that Palm Beach Pineapple does sound good.
Especially right now. I don't know what I'm going to make tonight, but it's probably something chicken.
It sounds like a Taco Bell night for me, I think.
Well, that's not a bad option either.
Gosh, I'm just
something.
mad because they had a combo that I was getting all the time and I shouldn't get because it's bad for me. But they had a really good combo and now I can't get that particular combo.
Is it the box?
Oh, it's one of the boxes, yeah. But it had a grilled cheese burrito.
Oh, yeah, that box.
Yeah.
They got rid of the grilled cheese burrito?
Well, I'm sure you can still get it on the app or whatever, but I'm too lazy for that. So there's grilled cheese, the grilled cheese burrito you can still get, but like it came with a box with a grilled cheese burrito, beef chalupa, and then one of those new chicken cantina.
Yeah, that's
tacos.
nice.
That was, and honestly, the grilled cheese burrito with extra Fiesta strips that don't taste like anything, they're just like crunchy.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. I mean, what more could you ask for?
The after part of Taco Bell. I wish that didn't happen, but
I don't know what's going on. I don't normally break the third wall here, but we had a whole bunch of viewers, and now we only have 2, and everything seems okay on my end. But the graph just dropped to nothing. I wonder if there's an outage somewhere in the pipeline. My stuff's fine.
What horrible timing. Hey, I'm good.
Either everyone just lost interest, or like everybody.
That's how much everyone loves green flag racing.
I think it happened, in the last 10 minutes. That's very weird. I've never seen that before. Oh, it's coming back up.
This is going to be interesting. We got 9 drivers who stayed out, but then you have like 8 or 9 who took 2 tires and got out in front of JT Pool. So many different strategies. We only have 17 laps.
Here we go. Doubled up for the restart here, and you mentioned 17, but it'll be 16 at the stripe. 15 minutes worth of racing to go. Connor Urashek, Michael Van Abel, green flag, and we're racing once more at Pocono. And a couple trucks already popping out. We're 3 wide. Are we going to do 4 down here into turn 1?
Beckner was the first one to pop out, 3, or at least the highest up one. Look up JT Pool threw a big block on Seth Knoll. They are almost 4 wide.
Oh boy,
Wenisogak and Lakatos, the 50 sliding. There goes the 88 around.
That was only a matter of time into the wall.
There goes more.
Oh!
Daniel Day, Garrett Grant. I don't even know who's in it. Rafe Slate, Trey Eitzen, the 32 is in it. That was a wreck after the wreck. And it looks like Seth Knoll was the 609 truck I saw take a big hit to the inside wall.
That truck is junk. Junked all the way is the one. All right, well, there's 2 things we got to look at. One is, well, did I get the, no. So let's look at this first. This is the, oh, this is not the right thing.
First one, it starts with the 88 and 50.
So I gotta get this. All right, so the 88 and 50. Yeah, so they were crashing the whole way through turn 1. Not the right camera. There we go.
Whoa, that was odd. Oh, Lakatos and Bowie, they kind of all bounced off each other. 88 checks things up. 88 gets spun by the 17. And then it looks like Rafe Slate turns Daniel Day.
Look at it again, slow.
There's a whole bunch of beating and banging. 26 loose in the 1, 5 hits to 61.
5's already sideways here. Oh, they're right there. The 8 gets the 61 and the 1 into the wall hard. 32.
Whoa!
Truck.
Jeremy Miller and Drew Jua. How did they get through that? But yeah, no. Yeah, Jacob Bell too. Yeah, it seems like I don't think Rafe meant to hit the 61. He got into the 5, the 61 did, and kind of stacked things up. It's the wreck after the wreck.
Gosh, big hits there.
Ooh, that was Eitzen and I think Marin. Bell just waited for things to pan out.
Yeah, he was already kind of squeezed here. And it's actually the 61. You see that? He checks up.
He lifts.
Yeah. I mean, that was it because of the yellow? No, I mean, this is...
I mean...
Right, just the slightest lift, but it's all
I think he had the contact with the driver ahead, which I think was Garrett Grant, and I think it spooked him into lifting and giving the 5 the room. Rafe Slate didn't have time to avoid it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't put that necessarily on Rafe Slate after watching that. It's just unfortunate. Oh, boy. Disaster late at Pocono. Let's have a look at our race stats so far. At 40 green flag laps of the 57 that we have run. Now the 12, Connor Urashak holds the fastest lap. 7 lead changes, 6 different leaders. Now it's this is when things turn to mayhem. When it's been so hard to pass, we're gonna have a restart with 12 or under to go. This is when you start better getting your green white checker restarts skills sorted, because I have a hard time thinking we're gonna get 12 green ones.
Yeah, now we're left with, I believe, the top 8 who did stay out. Patrick Moose is one of those 2-tire drivers. I believe Lakatis stayed out. He's back to 11th, but most drivers who didn't get damage were able to stay out, and are probably everyone's probably done pitting unless they get terminal damage. As JT Poole got through that, he's only up to 16th position. He was the first driver on 4 tires. Not sure if that's true anymore.
Oh, Ryan Swan in the 20 on his day. 43rd to 4th.
Yeah, he's kind of been all over the place all day, but he's been able to make it work and make the strategy work for the time being. A lot of drivers at the front now with this strategy. Urshak, Van Abel's kind of been near the front. We haven't really talked about David Weishart this entire race. And you got Strayer in 5th, Peach in 6th, obviously Wygant in 8th. The solid runs could be brewing for some of these drivers, but as we saw, we got to get through turn 1 first.
We sure do. What a race this has been. Of course, this is the Area Truck Series here from Pocono. Kyle Heyer alongside Connor Horn as we work our way through the 3rd round of the season. And race fans, make sure you visit shop.areairacing.com for high quality merchandise at low prices. Shop from over 100 selections of t-shirts, hats, champion brand clothing, and more area accessories. Easy to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. Shop.areairacing.com. Been a dramatic race so far, and it's been interesting to follow. We're going to get a restart with 12 laps to go here in a moment, Connor. When we do, let's kind of reevaluate where our picks are. I had Matthew Batby selected. Turns out for me that did not work out so well. He's down 2 laps with some damage as well. Who'd you have winning this thing?
I had 9th place starter Sebastian Marin. He has been kind of struggling to get through these crashes. He got some damage in the last one. I believe his lead lap, but still has damage to deal with 26th. It's never over till it's over, but you can see the left side of that 32 truck is well used up.
Yeah.
As is the 52, who's actually, that was Jake Matheson back on track.
Yeah, but tough for our picks today. And yeah, after I picked Seth Knoll last night, he went to victory lane, got myself back in the commentator standings. That was important. And Hunter Sleppy, in his rush to pick one because we waited a little long, picked someone who wasn't in the race. So he had to re-pick somebody.
Did he pick James Scioli?
Yes, he did.
I was about to say, I didn't see the 7 on track.
So that was a mistake there, but
I believe he won the last time we were at Pocono, too, before last night.
probably why he picked him.
Also, if it's James Scioli in area, it's usually a safe bet if he makes it.
Well, it'll be 12 laps and about as many minutes to finish out the Area Truck Series Round 3 from the Tricky Triangle. Connor Urashak in the salmon pink truck. Going to bring us to the green, and we're launching again. 2 elite trucks on the front row, 12 to go.
Seems like they're working together. 54 just gave a big bump to the 41 to get back in line, but it seems like 95 and 12 are trying to make sure they stay top 2 and can control this race to the end. 3 wide again.
That's going to be tough. Again, the 50 again, center.
No, look at this again. Saved it for now. He's still sideways on old tires, but oh, John Hall just chopped the nose of Reese Schaefer, and we're still 3 wide.
Yeah, I don't see how this doesn't turn into a mess in the tunnel turn here. The front runners are singled out. Everyone in the back is really struggling here to get orderly. And right here, center corner, it just condenses. The racing line is so narrow there. I can't believe it.
Balliette's got damage. I think he's really slowing some drivers up. JT Poole, you can see in the very middle, just trying to get track position after taking 4 tires. We're going to be 4 wide off the corner if Balliette doesn't back out, but he didn't really have enough of a run to make that work, so just 3 wide. Here comes Miller. He's going to get to the outside of JT Poole. There's nowhere he can go, but...
Oh, spin! Jonathan
9.
Evans, and we'll stay green.
That was...
I'm going to bookmark that. We'll take a look at it later.
That was all on his own.
Maybe we won't look at it later. Oh, big crash!
Patrick
Huge hit.
In front of the field. It's turn 1 again. Edward Shear, Travis Beckner's involved.
Gosh.
What in the world is it about this corner?
I mean, something happened there. Did he, like, get hooked into the fence?
That looked like the same thing as the 73. They're still wrecking down the backstretch. Marin and Matheson just got into each other.
What happened here? The 38?
Goodness.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, this is...
That was even more aggressive than the 73 and 31. I think he throttles up here. He just tries to... He's not clear.
Yeah, but
not even close. And Peachin and Shear, I think they were wrecking too. Look at the 69 and 17 in the background.
Yeah, they're
same exact thing. You got to be clear.
You got to be clear. But that goes for the driver on the outside here too. The 41 didn't help this, and he turned down the racetrack. I mean, you guys, that's what the spotters are for. You can't keep making that mistake. I mean, because it just turns into an absolute bloodbath.
Oh my God! Whoa, Julian Valadez! Did you see the 57 get through that?
I didn't see it. Let's look again.
Holy cow! He got the top 10 out of this. Watch the blue truck get to the bottom.
Well, it's right on board with the 57.
Schaefer, Miller, and Poole got through it.
Yeah, gosh, just junk in the field.
He got booted from the 07. Look at that. I think the Schaefer coming down on him a little bit helped him, but I think Schaefer... now Schaefer's got big damage, but that worked well for the 57. But once again, turn 1, you got to be clear, and I understand the driver on the outside. He came down a little bit, yes, but...
Well, I don't put it on any one person. I just put it on the drivers, right? Collectively, right? The mistakes of 2 drivers at a time take out 15 at a time. You got to be better than that if you want to make it to the end of these races, right? I mean, it's not playoff time. This is race 3, right? So I don't see the need to throttle in every single time we come out off of turn 1 to put everyone in the fence. It's just not necessary, and that's why we've got so many trucks in pit lane. So
I think a lot of people are just scared by Monday night, especially because we saw 3 laps in how important track position already was going to be, and it seems like everyone is so scared of going backwards, even one position, that they feel they have to pull a slider or wreck.
Right, and
they seem
I get
too
that,
content with wrecking.
But you just, I mean, we got into a conversation last night about tracking, virtual finances, and that's the difference between what the moves that they're making tonight and making the last 12 laps of this race green, right? Because there's no risk. If you junk your truck, you'll go down pit lane, you'll get it fixed, and you'll get right back in the field, and someone else will do it, and you gain all those spots back, right? So until there's accountability for junking the field 3 times, right? Everyone's going to keep doing these moves in the 3rd race of the season, right?
Well, there is accountability. It's going to come in the form of that caution point system.
Right.
Just a decent amount of drivers are probably going to have VOLs at the start of the next race.
Yeah,
so
but
that's how you police it.
That all comes down to whether or not they're calling fault for these incidents, which I'm not sure if they have told us that tonight as far as who is getting penalized.
Not tonight. Not quite yet. In the wiki on the box, or in the press box. Does he have a nice cozy press box? I'm not sure.
I mean, I have a tolerance for 2 drivers taking each other out, but when it's the entire field 3 times in the same place, it's like you're doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right?
It happened twice that time alone.
Yeah.
The 38 and 69, or not 5th, 69 and 17, and then it was the 38 and 41. I mean, the same incident twice in the same corner, same lap.
We had it in the Cup Series last night, too, a few times, but I mean, the thing that you fear is that you get an opportunity to have a good race to the end, and it just gets too hard to do it.
And we still got, even through all this, we still have tire strategies to sort out. We're probably going to go green with like 7 laps to go. The top 5 or 6 or so have stayed out. Brandon Bowie was one of those drivers who pit right when the yellow initially came out after a long run. He's up in the 5th. Reese Schaefer, I don't believe, has fresher tires. I believe Joshua Balliette might have fresher tires, but I think those 2 drivers have damage. As a matter of fact, the 07's front nose is punched in, but he'll restart 8th regardless of it. And JT Poole, who was the first driver out of pit road with 4 tires on the lap 51 caution, he will restart 11th.
Yeah, so he made it through all that somehow, right?
As did the 30, who also took 4 tires that yellow, I believe.
So I think that will actually work out okay for JT. I mean, there's 20 trucks on pit lane, or that were on pit lane for more than a minute, or are out of this race. At Pocono. Yeah. I mean, this isn't, we're not at Talladega, guys.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Season 4's Cup race was not great, but it was not, I don't think it was nearly as this crazy. And I'd expect it to get this crazy. I know the racing is similar to Cup, but we had a long green run, but it seems like it happens a lot, right. Though. We have that one caution, stacks things up, everyone realizes they can get track position back once again, and it just unravels.
I just don't, the risk versus reward. I mean, this is why, you know, when they bring you in, this is the development series in some ways, right? The risk versus reward does not make sense to be challenging everyone to a, you know, bare knuckle brawl every time you leave turn 1. We're around 3 of the season, right? So I think it's too early to be taking risks like that. It does not pay what you think it will. If you're battling for the lead and you do that, all right, fine, because you could have gotten yourself in the playoffs, but you know, 10th, 12th, 15th, you're not going to win the race by making that move. You're just going to junk everybody. So we'll see if we can do it. 7 laps to go in the Area Truck Series on this restart. Connor Yurchak, Michael Van Abel, David Weishart, Ryan Swan, your top 4. And we'll see if we can get this done. 7 laps.
See what Bowie can do from 5th on the fresher tires compared to those top 4.
Here we go into the restart zone. Connor Yurchak, big shot to the back of the 95, and he's going to get a great jump because of it.
Yeah, 20, Ryan Swan definitely jumped that. I wonder if they'll rule anything on that, but it gives the 95 probably the lead into turn number 1.
Yeah, he pulls even with Connor Yurchak into this first corner. We'll see.
95 blinked out, but I think Yurchak's going to have the grip to clear. 3 wide, Swan's in the wall.
Truck bailed out to the left there, heading down the backstretch.
One of the modifieds, it might be the 9 again.
3 drivers kind of breaking away from the field here. Brandon Bowie tucks in right behind Cameron. We haven't really talked a lot about Cameron Hearn tonight. He started 10th, but that very unassuming black 67 Chevy right in the mix here at the tail end of things.
You can see everything 10th on back is pretty crazy. 30 stuck in the middle. The 7's on the bumper of his teammate Reese Schaefer. They're still working together even though they have all that damage. And Miller's probably not happy about it, but he's kind of in the middle. And Jacob Bell's going to be in a bad spot because of it as well.
Just the big momentum, big runs. And Connor Yurchak has got a 0.2 of a second advantage. And if he can stay committed to the throttle.
It's turned. Miller and him door again. They're 4 wide off the corner. They saved it that time. Miller almost came back up into the 07.
Yeah, I think there's no love lost between those 2 there. Here comes another one of the 609 truck, Spencer Burns. A little wiggle there from Reese Schaefer in the 07.
JT Poole just threw a big block on Valadez down into the turn number 3 area. Valadez trying to get to the inside. They might make contact. Yeah, they did. Poole's going to keep the spot.
Up onto the front straightaway, 5 laps to go. And Yurchak's gap is not coming down. Does Van Abel or Weishart have anything for him? How about the 33? Quietly lurking. It went all the way down to 37th at one point in this race, and he's back inside the top 5.
Trying to make something happen, as is Bowie with the fresher tires, but it just seems like they're not going. We got to crash in turn number 1. Or at least someone half spun. Looks like they saved it.
Devin Johnson.
keep it green for now. But it just looks like those drivers in the top 5, they can't get enough of a run to do much. Hearn's going to take a run into the tunnel turn.
Oh.
And I don't know how they saved that. Look at that slide.
That was a great save there by Devin. So he just goes in here 3 wide and then just, he just tangled.
He ran out of room.
Yeah.
The top 2 got back clear once again because Hearn went for 3rd, did not get it in those top 2. They were able to get away.
4 laps to go, clicking them down. Urashak still maintaining a 2.5 of a second advantage. Here comes Cameron Hearn on David Weishart into turn 1.
I think he's going to try to slide up in front of him, but he does not have the room to do it. It's all about if Bowie wants to go with him or not.
Oh, Michael Venable. Sorry, Connor. He blinked out for a minute.
It just doesn't look like Bowie's willing to work with the 67. Saying that, yeah, he will. He will bump the 67 into a tunnel turn. I think they both know the 33 is slower, but they just can't get by him, and they're running out of laps.
Big squeeze here out of turn 2. And the 67 had to lift. That will bring Brennan Bowie up to the outside, but nowhere to go with it. That was great for Cameron Hearn. You see, that was an example of, like, he gave up time to lift, but he lived to see another day here and fight the 33 again. 3 laps to go.
They lost so much time to the top 2. It might not matter if they push clear the 33 now, but you could tell him and Bowie are working together. Weishart threw a late block there, trying to cut the momentum of the 67. Didn't quite work. Oh, look at Hearn. He's going to send it. They made contact. They're neck coating a little bit, but Hearn's going to get by doing it.
That was dicey stuff there for a moment. Pushing, shoving back here a little bit.
Miller and Balliet.
I think Travis Beckner tucking in line back there as well. He just wants to be a spectator for all of it.
Caution, crash out of turn 1 again. This is going to put us in green-white checker territory. That is Tyler Hallman.
Seems like it was by himself, or at least the spin was.
And we will be in green-white checker territory.
Oh, this was different. He just got
dumb.
Around. Who's that?
That was Matthew Bappy.
Oh, Bappy.
89. I don't see a reason you would mean to do that, but...
Well, the bumper on the 62 is all messed up, but he just wasn't ready to give him a shove. I think they were not... See how much the 62 is kind of wobbling and weaving, and same with the 89. They just were not set up to hook up there.
And 62 got there again, but that's the second time for him. But yeah, that was just bumping at the wrong time. And it'll put us in green-white checker territory for the second night in a row. And this is going to be interesting. Cameron Hearn just got to that 3rd position, and we saw how aggressive he was getting by Weishart. So we'll see what he does here. And I say that because I'm not anticipating anyone pitting at this point. So this should be the order in the top 10 at least.
No, track position's key here. I think you really need to be up front. I think you need to make your move. If you're Cameron Hearn or Weishart, you've got to nail this restart. When I mean nail it, you got to figure out how to get through the gears better, get a push, get a shove, work together, something. Because if you come out of turn 1 and you're not ahead of the people you need to be ahead of, I don't know that you're going to win this race.
Most likely not. The issue is here, you're probably going to see those 2 work together and make sure they are clear of the 67 and 33 again. The reason they weren't able to do that is because Ryan Swan just, lack of better, they didn't call anything, but he jumped the restart and just gave the 95 a huge shot.
I don't know exactly how he was able to do that, right? I mean...
Well, you don't have to maintain a speed unless you're on the front row, so really you can almost give people penalties, but it didn't give the 95 a penalty.
That's what I was going to say. He gave the 95 such a huge hit. I thought for sure that he was going to get a penalty for jumping because, I mean, it looked like he had gotten the shot before Urashak went, but I guess good for Venable, it didn't do that.
I can only think that the 12 went right as the 20 gave the 95 that huge bump, and it just worked perfectly. But it still wasn't able to, Venable still wasn't able to get it. As you can see, everyone going to the inside, let the lucky dog by. Maybe the last one, that's Danny Ware, who's had a rough night himself. But yeah, it's really weird how that kind of was let go. I thought for sure something would be said about that. Looking at JT Poole, he only got up to 6th on fresher tires. Unless we get multiple attempts, that probably won't be enough to compete for the win. We still have Bowie in 5th, who might be able to push Hearn clear if they can hook up.
I think it's so much of it's going to come down to the launch you get and the shove into turn 1. I mean, if you can carry momentum onto the backstretch between 1 and 2 and get another shove, absolutely. But I don't know that tires are going to matter much at all. It's just so tricky to. It's the straightaways, right? If you can get to the corner, you're going to struggle to get past anybody. But if you can get a shove down the straight and make it easy for you, now we're talking.
Yeah, it's not only going to be about the launch, it's going to be about who gets off of turn 1 where. I think if Hearn can get off of turn number 1 in third place, maybe with a good push from the 33 or 54, maybe he can do something to try to get second place in a Pocono turn, whether it's Euroshak or Venable. It'll probably be Venable, but he needs that push. He's not going to win without having one of those 2 or 3 drivers behind him help him out. But it's almost certainly after the contact in 1. I would not think Weishart's going to be too keen to push him. I think Bowie would be willing to, and I don't think JT Poole would be willing to because he has the fresher tires out of anyone ahead of him.
We should be 1 to green this time. We're already in 3 laps worth of overtime. We'll have 73 in this race. Or more.
Yeah, Case Lakatos, who's been loose on the bottom, seems like all these restarts. He'll be in 7th. Ryan Swan, who had that interesting restart, he slipped back to 8th. And that's really all the notable drivers as far as tires and any differences. Like you said, it really doesn't matter at any point. What does matter is 36 laps led. Even through all the chaos, Connor Yeroshak's led over half this race almost.
Yeah, Michael Venable really needs this race to end because his internet is clinging to existence right now. David Weishart's right behind. He's going to be giving that 95 the biggest shove he can, whether that car's there or not.
Hope it at least times out where you can push them, or else it's going to be another wreck. But it's crazy. We always talk about how the field sizes stay high because of this new damage model, but we've really gotten rid of a lot of trucks in the past 20 laps.
I haven't seen. I mean, with the new damage model is definitely over forgiving, right? I mean, we've seen drivers come back on the racetrack that would never be able to do so in the real world because of how forgiving the damage replacement model is. But we have still junked 11, 12 trucks, which is a lot, like entirely junked.
McDowell, Kane, Waterworth, Slaughter, Seidenfaden, Eitzen, Knoll, Matheson's still running, but he was junked. Peachin, John Hall, Patrick Moose. Batby just lagged out again, but he was totaled. It's crazy how high the attrition rate's been at a 2.5 mile track. It's not a super speedway.
It's not, right. There's space here for everybody. Let's see, 2 laps to go. The Area Truck Series, round 3. Next week, we head to Charlotte Motor Speedway, then Dover, then Sonoma. We go road racing, right and left. Tonight, though, it's 3 lefts, and we do it 3 more times. Make it 2. Green flag, and we're racing again. Venable got a decent restart. He should be able to cling onto the quarter panel at the 12 through turn 1 here, Connor.
Hearn didn't do too badly. He's going to at least peak 3 wide, make Euroshak think about it, but not close enough to make a move. See if Hearn can get the 3rd or maybe clear into turn number 1 somewhere. Venable's way up the track, maybe too far up the track.
Oh, there it is again.
Gosh. Garrett Grant, Jeremy Miller, Spencer Burns is up and over. Tumbling down Long Pond.
Be a long night.
And as we will be in green white checker number 2. And that was another big one out of turn number 1, and it looked like the same exact thing.
I mean, where's the 5 going? Like Garrett Grant is experienced enough to not be doing this.
Most starts in the series.
Just running 3 lanes up from the bottom of the racetrack with 2 trucks to the outside. Unforgivable error there, I think.
Poor Spencer Burns, innocent bystander. He worked all that way up to get to the top 12, and he ends up on his roof. Tipped over by the 7 of Balliet. Trying to look. I think Travis Beckner was in this one.
Well, actually, where is he going? I mean, Garrett Grant. I mean, this is an embarrassing mistake.
Same thing we've seen all night. This is the first time we saw it with 3 wide. That's exactly what happened to me last night. Matthew Bell kind of pinched me into the wall on the 70. He tumbled over Rafe Slate, who's in the 8 tonight. But yeah, just another one of those things where it just, I don't know what it is about the exit of 1, because it has not happened once on the exit of turn 3. It's kind of mind-boggling, and that's why we have the attrition rate we just talked about. and it puts us in another green-white checkered scenario. But interestingly enough, with the timing of that caution, what that's done is put Cameron Hearn in second, which is all right for him. But the problem is, we'll almost certainly see Michael Van Abel and Connor Yurashak line up together, probably go together, and it might just relegate Hearn back to where he came from. So kind of good news, bad news for the 67.
So we're back under yellow again now, 5 laps over our scheduled distance.
Yeah, can you EOL the entire series next week? We're getting close to that with the amount of caused yellows.
It's just, there needs to be, you know, if you're with the, I don't mean to pick on the 5 because it's been a lot of stuff that led to this, but you can't just wash up the racetrack and clear everybody out. You know, I mean, you're not racing for the win. You're
need more awareness.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, this is not a rookie driver. You know, if it's a rookie, it's one thing, but
261 area starts.
Can't be making that mistake in your 260th area start, right? I mean, there's too many drivers here paying for an experience.
How many lucky dogs is going to give Daniel Ware? He only needs one more to get the lead lap. That's the type of ending it's been the past 20 laps. It's a figures that one of my trucks tumbled. I think that's the first time this season, so that's great.
We had a lot of tough luck in 609 as of late.
That sucks for Spencer Burns because he had damage this entire race. He got up to 12th on a restart. I think Miller was 14th. He was involved in that. Somehow through all of this, you know, the first major crash involved Jake Nichols. He got totaled. Look where he's running. You can see him back there. He's 14th through all of this mayhem. And that thing was totaled. And it still has damage on the front end.
Great.
And he's almost certainly going to be the highest finisher of his team, well, the team. Actually, saying that, I thought Jeremy got damage out of that. Actually, his truck looks okay. He's actually right in front of him, and I didn't notice it.
Yeah, commenter saying that Connor would be hating the virtual currency idea I proposed last night. I think 609 would be
defunct. I would have been broke a season ago.
Yeah.
I would have been broke after season 4 after Las Vegas.
Just, I mean, when I mean consequences, right? Everyone's paying for this experience, but you can't, I mean, you're going to just show up and junk half the field every night. I mean, it's a harmless way to encourage people to think twice before they clear themselves off someone else's bumper. So,
if anything, after a race like this, you would think those caution points for even sharing faults would go up after something like this. That would be my move. I'm not a part of the admin team, but if you're going to do a race this bad with this many people making not just different mistakes, the same mistake over and over, you got to do something to enforce that. Hey, this isn't going to fly. We're going to double your caution points. You even share fault for something, you're probably getting EOL. Yeah. You got to do something.
It wasn't a bad race. Like I mean, obviously it was hard to pass and stuff, but the race was fine until we get to the point where we're just restarting and wrecking in the same place 5 times. It's just, I mean, it's a shame because it was otherwise going pretty well.
Look how many less trucks we have now. We are up to 48 green flag laps, or I guess I feel like we only had maybe a third of one there, but it'll count as the 48th.
Maybe, yeah, we're going to be
inching close to 30 caution laps.
Well, I think the bigger thing for me is it's getting to the point where this race is getting significantly longer than it should have been, right?
Oh, well, 100%. It's got to be longer than a cup race at this point.
The green white checker number 2, right? So we can only do one more, but then we would be over 10 laps past the scheduled distance.
Yeah, fuel shouldn't be an issue, but I don't think Connor Yurashak has pit since lap 45. I don't think it's an issue.
He should be fine. 28 laps on his tank of fuel.
Should be fine.
Yeah, I think everyone should be fine on fuel.
But like I said before, looking at the replays, Hearn did get the second, but those elite trucks will now line up bumper to bumper, and instead of kind of being side by side, slowing each other down, they'll have the opportunity to bump draft together into turn 1, probably crowd the 67, maybe crowd the 67 out of a position to be in that front row. You would think that's what they'd have to do, because I think Hearn might be a touch faster than them right now.
All right, let's try this again. 2 laps to go. 5 miles between here and the checkered flag. Connor Yurashak, Cameron Hearn in that 67. What a job he has done tonight to put himself in position. Weishart, Van Abel, JT Poole back up to 5th place. He was in the catbird seat to win this race. Big shot from the 95, and the 12 is gone. That's exactly what he needed to win this race.
It's exactly what the 20 did. I think they saw it was legal and decided to do the same thing. I don't agree with that, but they're going to use what they can. But if Enable's not going to clear for second, Hearn's probably going to have this runner-up spot.
With a 17 getting squeezed here. Jacob Bell on the bottom.
Spin in the back.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Drew Jua.
I mean, but it's no one in the top 10. It's always the drivers that are mid-pack here. I just don't know what we're doing.
Those were teammates that wrecked each other. Jua and Balliet, they wrecked each other. And we will go for the first time with the new rule. Oh, he got loose. He got loose, and Drew did not check up for him. And Josana Sogak and Sebastian Marin were innocent bystanders.
Oh, it's the last caution that, well, second to last caution that we can have.
And once again, it's going to be the same scenario where Venable's going to be shoving Yurashek into one. And that won't eliminate anyone either, at least anyone of substance. Having high doubts we get to the white flag under green, but Connor Yurashek, while he absolutely hates what's going on right now, he'll be the only one, if he can win, he'll be the only one happy about this happening because he's the leader. But I don't even think he'll be happy still. Obviously, the yellows are bad, and it's the worst. I just can't believe what they do there on the bottom's legal. I mean, Venable clearly jumps it.
Most nights area really impresses me. This is not one of those nights. And this looks like a short track race at Bowman Gray.
This is something the Truck Series avoided last season.
Well, they did an amazing job. We didn't have a single race like this last season. I mean, the season before it was like this a lot, and it was.
But then they improved it.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot have this week in and week out. I mean, this is.
I want to look at that restart again because I just.
Well, let's look at it. We got enough time. God knows.
But I just. They're it's iRacing rules, and I get that. That's what Adam's been preaching. It's iRacing rules.
Am I on the right lap here? No, I don't know where I'm at. I got lost in the replay here.
I don't
really know where I'm at.
You're I think very far behind.
Behind, or is this?
Yeah, because Weishart's third. He was not third.
Oh, okay. Wow. What? Oh, I guess I didn't even mark the other one on the replay. That's lap 68, actually. Let's go back and do this.
Like, I don't want to nitpick too much because, like I said, it's iRacing rules. It's but how much is too much? I mean, watch this. Watch the 95. It just bam. That's a clear jump to me. I don't understand how that's legal. It's the same thing the 20 did. I mean, it's a clear difference. I mean, bam. We can't do that.
I don't know how I could disagree with that, Connor. That is a jump.
It's the same thing Ryan Swan didn't get away with it. Problem is they waited too. They can't. I don't know if they can penalize it now because the 20 did it. I mean, and the 95 only did it because the 20 did it to him.
It's one of those things that you might have to make a rule post-race about, but it is bold to try that, and I think that falls under the sportsmanship guideline probably. I mean, you blatantly know you're jumping the restart when you do that. It's not up. I mean, it's a loophole, sure, but that wouldn't even really cross my mind to do.
They are on the radio now talking about restart mile per hour. So I'll take some credit. Thank you. Cheers. But I would be shocked after that reminder that Venable, if he does it again, I'd be shocked if he did it again. Because you could say the first time, oh, the 20 did it to me. I was like, all right, we can't penalize it. If he does it again, there will be penalties.
Well, I mean, in Venable's defense, he learned it from the guy that did it to him. All right, 1 to green. Race is now longer than the Cup race.
Yeah, I figured it would be. It's hopefully if Venable does it again, hopefully he does not blink out at a bad time. He's been blinking at certain times. If you're a bet man, what are the odds of getting out of turn 1? I don't think they're very good.
They might do it this time, but as far as I'm concerned, damage has already been done. I mean, we're 11 laps past the scheduled distance at a 2.5-mile racetrack. I would like to go to bed. I mean, again, I might be a little more angry because I've been working so much and I don't have a lot of time to spend in overtime here. I mean, I don't plan to schedule 2 hours and 20 minutes on a truck series race every Tuesday, and I do not plan to spend 2 hours and 20 minutes on a truck race on Tuesday. On a Monday night, maybe the race is longer, right? But if we're making the truck races longer than the cup races because of yellows, it does not make sense.
And I got wood next to me, so knock on wood. Thursday night for Finian, Hunter and I should be good. That's a race that will get spread out like we saw. I believe Cameron Hearn was the last winner at this track.
Just gotta have respect for your competitors. That's all it comes down to, right? I mean, again, this is the last race of the season and championships are on the line, and it's the top 10 doing this. That's one thing, but you're 25th, you know, race 3 of the season. It's just
teammates.
That's even worse.
Yeah, that was not good.
Woe is me. Let's get restarted here. 2 laps to go. Again, Connor Urashak, Cameron Hearn on the front row, Michael Van Abel and David Weishart on row 2. Here we go.
Pretty orderly that time.
Yep. And we're underway.
Hearn got into second.
Look
That's
at Cameron Hearn. Oh,
important.
look, that's going to be a great move here if he could get to the overlap. He didn't do it. Is he looking to turn 1, though?
He's kind of just trying to force Urashak off his game. He might bump him into turn number 1. He did hit him into turn number 1. Trying to use the bumper at 150 miles an hour. He's going to be all over him. And here comes Weishart for third.
Rewind out of turn 1. We get there through it there that time. Down the back straightaway. Here comes a 67. He's got overlap. Cameron Hearn fights to the bottom into the tunnel turn.
Watch David Weishart the run he can have through turn number 2 here. He could take them 3 wide. They're sliding in the background, but we're still straight.
Down towards turn 3.
There's a caution. Connor Urashak's going to survive and win.
Oh. What a battle that could have been.
And Cameron Hearn gave it everything he had. Rick was at the back, involving the 94. It was a race for basically 20th. Robert Colgan, Drew Trader. 94 hits the apron and just kind of washes up into him.
Yeah. Well, that was an embarrassing end to an otherwise decent race up until about lap 55. And Connor Urashak is going to win this one behind the pace car.
I bet Hearn's upset about Weishart push him. I think if Weishart pushes him out of 2, or even doesn't push anyone, it's very possible Cameron Hearn might win that race. But it just didn't work out. And I think Weishart figures he's not going to be able to pass Hearn if he pushes him clear. So just had to play what was right in Weishart's mind, and it at least gets him 3rd, and I'm sure Hearn's not happy about it. See top 5 on the left side. Michael Van Abel, that was not the restart he needed. He dropped back to 5th. Travis Beckner got a top 10 out of this, as did Case Lakatos. It's a great run for the 50. As they come through turn 3 for the final time, as we end up going 11 laps past regulation.
Connor Urashak comes out of turn 3 and led this race a long ways around. 47 in total. And he wins here at Pocono.
Even yellows aside, he was still a very dominant force. He kind of messed up the strategy a little bit, but ends up working out for him. I'm sure JT Poole is going to be upset about how that played out, because he did have the right strategy, but cautions breed cautions, as we saw.
Here's a look at your race results. No Fords in the top 10. Travis Beckner, after the drum that day he had, top 10 there for him.
I sense a theme with the Ford thing, which is usually it's Toyotas, but yeah, Weishart, Poole, like I said, Poole's probably going to be upset about it. I think Hearn's going to be upset at Weishart for not pushing him, but that's racing. Van Abel 5th, Lakatos 7th, great run for him. Same thing for Ryan Swan, and Travis Beckner battled all the way back to the 10th position after starting pretty much dead last.
Yeah, there's a look at the top 10 runners here, and we'll move on now to the next 20. Next 10, Julian Valadez. Look at all Chevrolets. I've never seen something like that before. Man, Silverado dominance.
I can't believe Jake Nichols got 12th. That truck was total. Jeremy Miller 13th. Bell, Daniel Day recovered the 15th. Lucas Strayer was one of those. He was in the crash with Patrick Moose. He got the 16th. Marin Anasogak Hallman. I don't think there's a driver in this range that wasn't in a crash, except maybe the 57. I think everyone else here was involved in something.
Yeah, I'm looking down the rest of the order here. Still no Fords.
No Fords. Patrick Moose might have been the highest running, and he got crashed out. Evans still not able to get the run after Daytona that he wants. Reese Schaefer will drop from second in the points for sure. There are some drivers in here that ran well, like Balliet, like Garrett Grant, that didn't get finishes they deserved either.
And there's a couple of Fords, Matheson, Moose, Hall, all taken out in some incidents earlier in the evening. Seth Knoll, 37th. Catastrophic night for him. A couple Toyotas near the back here, Brad Slaughter Jr. included.
He got the pole, just never got time to really do anything with that pole. Didn't even lead a lap from pole. And then Mason Caden was involved with Jake Nichols in that very first big crash that we saw. Gary Waterworth, Ben McDonnell also all out very early.
Well, that is your finishing order here. We're going to talk with Connor Urashak here shortly before we sign off here for the evening. And, man, there was a lot of great racing up until around lap 55, Connor. But, challenging to pass for sure. But, big runs, at times, bump drafting, push drafting, some strategy playing out. All that was pretty good. Connor Urashak, though, led 46 laps tonight. He did a great job.
He did do a great job, and I think he was still going to be a top 5 truck regardless of how many yellows we had. But he's obviously still very fast. Definitely redemption for Texas last week. He didn't even get a chance to race at Texas. He lagged out from the race lead, so I'm sure he's still not happy about how the race went, but you're always going to take the win any way you can get it, and definitely redemption for last week. And obviously going to be a title threat, I would think. He was last year in the Pro Series before Kansas happened, so I expect big things from him.
And waiting for Connor Urashak to join us here. There he is. 46 laps led, Connor, and you come out on top after a lot of pacing there towards the end. Take us through your night.
Yeah, it was an interesting night. I wish we would have had a little more running at the end, obviously, but it worked out for me. I mean, me and Travis there were leading, so we decided obviously to overcut, and then the yellow came out like 4 laps after, so I was like, if I pit now, I'm obviously not going to be first on the strategy, so I might as well just stay out and hope that Pocono does some Pocono-ing things, and sure enough, they wrecked the next 20 laps, so it was a good night for us.
Yeah, certainly was, and the dominance here, do you think you could parlay that into some victories elsewhere on the circuit? We head to Charlotte next week and then Dover after that.
Yeah, I'm sure we can look for a few more. I mean, I don't put any practice or anything in. I just come out here to have fun. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that we can keep winning because it's obviously a lot more fun when you're winning.
Connor Urashak wins at Pocono, conquers the Tricky Triangle. Connor, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You as well. And we'll talk to Cameron Hearn as well. Comes home second in this one. Cameron didn't get a chance to battle Connor all the way back around to the checkers. Your thoughts?
Oh, I don't think is he there?
Nope, doesn't look like it. Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay.
What are your thoughts? Almost had a shot to beat the 12, but just didn't get the laps to do it.
Yeah, it was a crazy race, honestly. I'm kind of glad it's over. Connor led a lot of laps, so that's the only thing that's kind of good about the race is a fast guy won, but a lot of fast guys got taken out over a lot of stupid stuff. I mean, it seemed like a lot of people didn't really care what happened coming up the track, especially in turn 1, but feels good to be fast. It's been a long time since I've been fast somewhere, and it's a tough track to pass at, and battled my way through the field, and at least had a shot at, and that's all you can ask for.
Cameron Hearn second tonight at Pocono. Thanks, Cameron. And David Weishart, third place tonight. You were setting up to get by both of them, David. Just didn't have the opportunity. Take us through your night.
Yeah, it was up and down. It got some damage early on lap 1, turn 1. Just, I don't know if I came down or got doored, and I had skirt damage. So it slowed me down. Had to get it fixed and played some strategy to get back up there. And fortunately and unfortunately, we had a bunch of cautions. I was able to keep the track position. So had a rough start to the season. Glad to come home P3 and good team points night for fun.
David Weishart, third place tonight. David, thanks so much.
Yep, thanks, guys.
All right, Connor, final thoughts here on Pocono. Connor Urashak locks his way into the playoffs with a win here at the Tricky Triangle.
Well, I know the Pro Series cars race so much differently than the trucks, but even with the races we've seen Monday, Tuesday, I have a notebook right here. I don't really use it for area stats, but if I was using it for area stats, I would just throw it out the window and just throw it behind me. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen on Thursday. We hope for spread out racing. We hope for green flag racing, especially. That's what we've seen in the Pro Series in seasons past. Something about being packed up and track position being such a key factor of the races the last 2 nights, and especially tonight, really made people go a little bit in over their heads. And we saw the same wreck in turn 1 a bunch of times. So we'll see what we see on Thursday night. But as far as the truck series, I'm still a great crop of drivers. They'll figure it out, I'm sure. Especially we have some more tracks that we're coming up on that should be a little bit less tough to pass at. I think we go to Charlotte next week. That should be interesting as well. Trucks always put on a good show there. I believe JT Poole might have won there the last time the trucks went there, at least the last time I remember going there. So still going to be a great field. We'll still have some DNQs. Some drivers low in points to start this season are going to have to fight their way up eventually. We're getting to that point where you got to get something going if you haven't gotten good finishes yet.
Charlotte Motor Speedway next week, and the Florida State Builders Pro Series takes on Pocono on Thursday. We'll see you there.